maybe we need to frame it
Okay.
specifically.
Okay.
Like,
Let me reframe this for
yeah, go
y'all
ahead.
because I'm sorry, I'm getting a little annoyed. If you look at this prompt, if you 527 people in here, if you look at this prompt and you think, yay, yay, America, yay, yay, invade, yay, yay, I support the troops, that is the opposition that the host is looking for. Okay, let me say it again because we go through this every single time, and then people come up, and then Smitty's like, "I don't want an echo chamber," and then we end up with an echo chamber of different degrees. If you look at this prompt and you think to yourself, I think it's amazing. I think what Trump is doing is phenomenal. I think what Pete Hegseth is doing and calling this a crusade and doing all those things and sending American troops over to Iran, I think that's wonderful. That is
Okay,
the
you wanted,
opposition that we're
to be
looking
clear,
for.
you wanted a right-wing conservative, like
Correct.
all-American perspective.
Correct.
Well,
Because we have a panel. Yes, correct. So
because
my apologies if
I
I didn't
separate the
clarify that.
difference. I didn't know because I separate the
That's
difference
okay.
between the person who's like objectively like we should all have peace. We should be anti-war. I'm not an anti-war person. I know that humanity is not exactly enlightened, so I think that sometimes we have to go to war. And there's some people who think we should never go to war about anything. And I think they just live in a very fictional reality that would like to exist, but it doesn't. So like I was going to argue against those people who don't have substance.
No, I very much appreciate your opinion. This was not toward you. We do this all the time, Roy. This is not toward you at
I
all. Um,
misunderstood. I
no, it's
misunderstood the
not your
premise
fault.
though. No, it did
I
hit me. It
apologize
did
for not
apply.
clarifying.
It's
I
okay.
apologize. You're
It
good. You're good. You're good. Yeah. When we have a panel of like six or seven, eight people, generally when Smitty is saying, I'm looking for opposition, he's looking for someone that says, you know what, everything that y'all are saying up there is crazy. You're nuts. I think what Trump is doing is amazing. I think Trump is doing an amazing job. I support the troops being called up, 82nd. I support that. That's what we're looking
I
for. Because
understand
otherwise
now.
it
You're
turns,
looking
yeah.
at people who are supporting like more the administration. I was more thinking there's people who I think there's a lot more people in the middle who are just like without direction and they're like, well, I don't want anybody to fight. I don't want anybody to be at war. That guy that was just on, he was kind of doing a little bit of that mixy stuff in the middle. That's why I didn't like it. That's why I came up because I'm like, a person going to be a bad faith actor and be anti-war. No, I'm pro-war because I want people to protect themselves. And he want people to be like, nobody should fight, but they should be taken over, basically.
Totally makes sense. I do have a question for you with you feeling in that vein now that we understand you. And thank you so much for clarifying that. And I really appreciate it. And I hope for the chat for people who are wanting to come up if what a true opposition like looks like so we can have kind of like a balanced conversation. I am curious. So when we flip that, right, when you're talking about that you feel that war is necessary, what do you think about American troops being called up and sent into the Middle East? I know how you feel about Iran, defending themselves. Do you have any thoughts about the fact that American lives have already been lost? And American families are all getting those notifications that their loved ones are being sent over there. What are your thoughts about that?
I kind of had like a little like mental spiral about that yesterday because I was looking at the Beyonce wearing the T-shirt with the Buffalo Soldiers, and I am a Black American, so I think how many options did my people have at that time when they were supporting and enabling the genocide and the dispersion of Native Indigenous people in America? So I'm thinking these people. This has always been a predatory business model for America. So I have some empathy. I am a military veteran, and I have some empathy for the people that are going overseas because I know that these people have the least resources. They, whether it be money, whether it be having ethics or morality, these are also resources. So it's like I understand it's going to be bad, and people are going to I just see the same cycle. That's why I was thinking about the Buffalo Soldiers because I was like, there's some people that don't have options and they're doing this so they can eat and survive. And now they're looking like Boo Boo the Fool. There are some people that really deserve empathy, and there's some people who are in the military specifically because they were raised and reared in that like carceral, predatory, supremacist structure. So, like, that's at the core of who they are. So they're just they're seeing this as being their best version of a human being. So it's going to get disgusting. I was a logistics specialist, so I did all the supplies and I know how this is possible and not possible. It's really unfortunate. And I don't know if these people can be welcomed back. We're in like a 2026 era. I got out right before Trump became president the first time. So I can tell you that this is going to get really ugly, and I hope it doesn't split the society, because you need to differentiate between the people who do not have the resources and they ended up in the military versus the people who are zealots. We have to decide who we can let back in our community.
Okay. Swan, go ahead. I think you want to come in. Go ahead, Swan.
I'm going to get down because I was never supposed to be up here, but thank you for the patience and grace.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming up, Riley.
Appreciate you so much.
I think Riley's take was really like a thorough perspective based on his experiences and based on what we've seen happen in society when it comes to American imperialism, but also being a part of an oppressed group, and then sometimes being weaponized against another oppressed group. I think that was like really real. Thank you for that. I want to talk about America first.
Thank you, Destiny.
And y'all know me. This is no shade to anybody, I promise. But I get really, really frustrated when people continue to say that this isn't America first, because it is America first. America first is a slogan that has been used by groups starting in the late 1800s with the nativists, right, who are white people here in the United States that felt as though only white people who were born here, right, should be considered citizens. Anybody else should not have the privilege of being a citizen, right? When we talk about America first, because after the nativists, it was the Triple K, right? And then all the other groups that took on that slogan, their agenda has always been all about America first, and that's it. So yes, he is actually doing what America first is all about. I need people to understand that America has never valued anybody's humanity. Never. It still doesn't, right? You have people who are indigenous to this land, right, forced onto reservations. You have Black people, right, whose material conditions, every single time we try to pull ourselves up and do something for ourselves to progress ourselves here in the United States, what does the preservation of whiteness do? It hits us and knocks us right back down. This country cannot function, nor can it operate without oppressing people. And that's what America first means. I need y'all to stop saying that this isn't America first, because it is. Understand, this country doesn't care about humanity. It only cares about preserving capitalism and imperialism. And that's it. That's all it's ever been about.
Thank you, Swan. All righty.
30
All right.
seconds
Thank
or
you.
20 seconds, because I'm doing this at America First. I
Go ahead,
agree with
go
you
ahead.
100%, Swan. When I should rephrase America First, I'm going to say Americans first. Okay, I don't think we're Americans first. You're right, Trump is America first 100%, but I don't think he's for the Americans. That's where I was going with that. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Manny. All right. And thank you so much, Destiny, for all your support and all of the other folks who are helping us achieve the goals of the live. I think this is a very interesting, educational, and important discussion as we're talking about what's going to happen in Iran. I'm just going to do a real quick. Hey, Black Guys, thank you for coming in. Just want to do a quick recap. Iran says it's waiting for ground invasion. The United States has sent in roughly 3,500 troops to the Middle East, potentially to be deployed in Iran. We are talking about the consequences of a potential ground invasion, whether it be a smaller one or a potentially larger one. At some point, we're also talking about how does this end? Is this going to be a conflict that we're talking about for years, or can it be wrapped up relatively quickly? So that's what we're discussing today on the panel. Thank y'all so much, everybody, for being here. Please continue to tap the screen. We are almost at 100,000 likes. Appreciate all of the support. Justin Bill, thank you so much, bro. Appreciate seeing you up here in the chat. Thank you for coming in. All right, let's see, who is the one? I think Rima's been the longest since you've had an opportunity to speak. So go ahead, fam. Janae, love you. Thank you. Appreciate you, sis. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm always keeping the elders for last. Always. Where is she?
I got my
Wait.
bell.
I know you ain't talking.
You know,
You
that's
are
why I
not
got
an
my
elder. Rima,
No,
don't
but
make me call you. Rima, don't make me come for you, sis. You ain't no elder. I'm the elder.
Nichelle, Nichelle. I'm gonna have to explain it to you in the DMs.
I know. I've been around you long enough to know. I know what you're talking about. I'm just playing. I'm just messing with you.
I just I don't know. You know, when I hear people saying things like when I hear people talking about like America, and it's like they're always using kind of, you know, it's almost like they're victimizing Americans as if Americans are some, and I really feel that a lot of Americans are, unfortunately, we're talking rural areas. We're talking people who we're not really able to get access to, especially on platforms like this, where they consistently talk about, them being under threat, and it's just like, what is the threat that Americans, you guys are the bully of the world. America's the bully of the world. America's a colony. It's an Anglo-Saxon colony. That's it. The entire world was colonized by the Anglo-Saxons, the Spaniards, and the French. Literally, the Spaniard colonizers and the French. Did you guys see the Christopher Columbus statue that was just re-erected? Did you guys see that?
No.
Yeah, Trump re-erected a Christopher Columbus statue. And it's like, okay, well, are we the victim? Are we the aggressor? So there's no threats. Iran has never threatened the United States. The only time America ever gets any type of threat is because they've been threatening the other place for years or decades. Literally, Trump sat there and said that he's just I have to talk about Cuba. I love Cuba. And not enough people are talking about Cuba. Not enough people are talking about Sudan. Not enough people are talking about Palestine, Congo, so many places. He just sat there and said, well, I'm going to take the island. I'm going to take it. Cuba has never threatened the United States. It literally just said, hey, just stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Iran, Palestine, stay in your lane. So what are we doing? I had to get that off my chest, and I'm going to circle back onto other things, but just last thing, and I know I'm above my timer. I would really implore everyone in here, just because Dan, the old man that was up here, was speaking about Ethiopia and Ethiopians and Ethiopians who live in the I state. I want you guys to check out and see how even Ethiopians who live in the I state are treated like absolute garbage by their fellow Israeli brethren. Quote unquote. And I'm going to pause there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rima. We'll go to Covey. Covey, I know it's more people in here now than it was before. So if you could talk to me about the potential ground invasion of Iran, what does that mean? What do you think the odds are of that being something that Trump would consider a success? And how do you think this ends? Do you think this is a conflict for years that the United States is going to be involved in? Do you think this can be, resolved relatively quickly? Because it seems like Trump is trying to send that message that it could be resolved quickly to the market so that oil prices can stabilize and gas prices can stabilize. What do you think?
Yeah. So first of all, I think people need to also understand with regards to one of the greatest challenges I think that the U.S. military is going to have is a topography of Iran, right? So if you look at Iran on a map, I would highly recommend people to look up the topography of Iran. Its geography is like a natural fortress, right? Because you have the Zagros Mountains in the west, you have the Elburz Range in the north, and then you also have huge deserts, right? So this is just a logistical nightmare for any invading force, right? You think Afghanistan was bad, this is worse, right? So Iran definitely knows its own country. They're going to definitely use their own geography, for their own benefits, right? And on top of that, What about the supply line? Right? So if you advance within a country, you also need an endless, like an endless supply line as well, right? So Iran could easily use guerrilla warfare within these regions to attack U.S. troops, right? Or is whatever it is. And I don't even think Israel is going to be involved, because a lot of people are not talking about how Israel is actively sending troops to Lebanon. So Israel cannot afford to send troops to Iran right now, because a lot of their troops are currently going to Lebanon, and they have evacuated everybody below the Zahrani River, and they're trying to basically annex southern Lebanon. So they're already busy there. So who's going to go to Iran is going to be U.S. troops, right? So the financial cost itself, if America was able to spend about $3.7 billion in the first 100 hours, and in the first week, actually, it was not 3.7, it was $13 billion. A ground campaign would balloon to trillions. When you factor in equipment losses, when you factor in the oil disruptions because of the Strait of Hormuz, when you factor in the economic fallout from energy shocks. I mean, was it the Philippines? I don't know if you heard this, Smitty.
The Philippines.
The Philippines, yes, who declared a state of emergency because they said they're going to run out of oil in 45 days. How many other countries are going to declare states of emergency because of a similar reason? How is the U.S. going to continue this as well, right? So it's a complete disaster. You think Iraq was bad? You think Afghanistan was bad? This is a complete disaster. And also, one last thing. I know I've overrun, but one last thing. What helped America during the Libyan the Libyan war, was that Libyan ground forces were also attacking and got a hold of Gaddafi. American intelligence reports have already said that Iranian people are not going to be their ground forces. They thought that Iranian people were going to be their ground forces. They said they're not going to stand up against their own government. They said the Kurdish people would be their ground forces. The Kurdish forces said, nope, not us. We don't have anything to do with this. So who's going to be the ground force? And lastly, that island, Kharg Island or something like that, Kharj Island, that is what Trump is trying to take. And Iran has already deployed troops to that island, and those troops have already posted photos of themselves protecting that island. So none of this is going to be true. And last thing, I agree with Swan. America first is about upholding the status quo, which is American imperialism. America is not being held hostage. It wants to be there, the American corporation, not the people, but the American state and the status quo.
Let me go a follow-up question for you, Cubby, on I don't know how you pronounce the name of that. Kharj Island, is that how you said?
I have struggles pronouncing it as well. Yeah, Kharj Island, I think.
Okay, so can you talk about why Trump wants that specific island? My understanding is related to the Strait of Hormuz. But why he would try to go for that specific piece of Iran, and then we'll go to the next panelist.
Yeah, so it is Iran's primary oil export hub. About 90% of Iran's crude shipments goes through that island. 90%, right? So it is a vital revenue for the Iranian government. And if he takes over that island, it could be used as leverage. That's what Trump is trying to do. Because Iran is using the Strait of Hormuz as a leverage, Kharg Island, which it's not about the Strait of Hormuz, by the way, it's not really close to it. What they're attacking around the Strait of Hormuz, what they're attacking in the Strait of Hormuz is a place called Bandar Abbas. Bandar Abbas, if you guys have noticed, has been getting attacked and barraged by the US and Israel. And that is because if you control Bandar Abbas, you could at least try to open up the Strait of Hormuz. The island, though, which, by the way, is very important for Iran. He wants to use that island as a leverage when he negotiates with Iran. Basically, to tell them, I'll only give you back 90% of your crude shipments if you open up the Strait of Hormuz. And that's why that island is very important to him, because he's trying to use it as a bargaining. He's trying to, because at this point, what bargaining power does America have? It has nothing. What bargaining power does America have? It has no leverage. It has no bargaining power. It has absolutely nothing at this point. Whereas Iran is sitting on the Strait of Hormuz. That is a huge, huge bargaining power that Iran is using. Also, the fact that they're willing to sell petroleum using the Chinese currency, the yuan, right? That goes against the petrodollar. That is another leverage that Iran is having. So Iran has the upper hand, and Trump doesn't like that. So that's why he wants to take over the island so he could be used as a bargaining power.
Got it. Wow. Do y'all feel like y'all get this in traditional media? Be honest. You can say yes. Right, I'm not looking for a pat on the back, but do y'all really feel like y'all get this information like this in this way, distilled in this way? Go ahead, Catalina. I saw your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love everything that Swan and Covey stated about the America First thing. Oh, and also Rima, I heard about the Christopher Columbus statue, and I'm moving to DC in like 2 days. So if y'all see me on the news for vandalizing a statue, you already know. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But like, so I think I saw a comment earlier and I lost who said it. And it was something to the effect of what they believe is America First. And I'm assuming they're talking about MAGA or Trump supporters. And I think that is very important, because America First, absolutely agree, has always been about U.S. imperialism and white supremacy. And I think that how they market it to these, gullible voters is, oh, America First is, getting the immigrants out, no new wars, protecting the American people or putting the American people's interests first. And that's never been what it's about, but that's how these people are interpreting it, which is why some of them are becoming disillusioned, because they said, hey, we signed up for no new wars. And I think that's a really important thing to make, because this is what happens when people who are not versed on geopolitics or even world history, for that matter, or even the military history of their own country, are trying to, vote based on their limited knowledge, or they're trying to jump in on these topics without having that basic framework. So they're trying to create their own interpretation of what America First is. And that's never what it's been about. It's always been a white supremacist imperialist slogan from the inception of it. And I just I think that's really important to understand why there's so much disconnect, or why even you might see people on our side saying, well, how is this America First? We get how it's America First because it's furthering the imperialist agenda that they've always wanted to do. And I think this is the other issue that I have with people who are either supporting the war or making the comments that they are about Iran and defending the U.S. I, for one, and I'll try to land, I'm not a very pro-military person. I respect all of our people of color who have felt that they needed to be in the war or in the military for whatever reasons to better their lives. But I don't like when people say the military protects us or keeps us safe, because any war that we can look at in recent history has never been about protection. It's always been about furthering the agenda. So the narrative about the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, Kuwait, all of these things, people do not even understand what the actual reason is. They're going off of that official reason. And this is what, just feeds into the propping up of the military industrial complex and this myth that the United States is keeping us safe. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yep. Thank you, Catalina. All right, let me go to Lisa, and then we'll open up the panel. Again, if you're just coming in, we're talking about Iran says it's waiting for a U.S. ground invasion. 3,500 troops, U.S. troops, have been sent to the Middle East, potentially to be deployed in Iran. We don't know. I think folks think that may be likely. If you're reading some of the comments on X and other social media platforms of some U.S. congressmen and senators, as well as obviously other people involved in that in social media. So we don't know, obviously. Can't say that they are for sure going to Iran, But again, there are indications that these troops may be deployed in some capacity in the country of Iran. So that's what we're talking about. We're also talking about what the implications of that will be. I feel like, at least I can't speak for anywhere else in America, I feel like here in Southern California, it is not it is not being talked about I think people are talking about gas prices a lot, but people aren't necessarily talking about this war at all a lot out here. I don't know how it is in other parts of the country. But let me go to Lisa. Go ahead, Lisa. What do you think, fam?
So I just want to offer one detail into the conversation, and that's like, why is Trump doing this or why is Trump doing that? We have to remember that he is selfish, right? He doesn't really care about America in any way, shape, or form. He cares about Trump, and we need to keep an eye on this board of peace, right? Because from what I can see and connecting those dots, he came in and all of a sudden he wanted Canada, he wanted Greenland, he wanted, Cuba, he wanted Venezuela, all these different countries. And if you look, he's going after the countries that are heavy in natural resources, whether that's rare earths, whether that's, oil, and that are strategically placed. And he set himself up on this board of peace as like a king. He's chairman for life, and he gets to appoint his successor, which is going to be a family member. And the people that he let on this board, right, is invited to be on this board, Israel, right? Namely, that was the first one. And he's got invites out to Russia, China, and all his little dictator friends too. They haven't accepted yet, but I think that, they will eventually. And when you look at who this war is actually helping, it's helping Russia, right? They got their sanctions lifted. Now they get to sell their oil. He even lifted sanctions on Iran so they could sell their oil. And to me, from what I can see, it looks like he is going around and collecting countries that he can govern under this board of peace, including Gaza, right? Venezuela, he's got so far. He's taken at least $1.5 billion in oil. I think his one administration official said they took $100 million in gold from Venezuela. And so when we're looking at why he wants Carg Island, I think that Covey is right. It's a bargaining chip for the military. And I think that the American military, American corporations, right, it's in their best interest to disable Iran. And it's in Israel's best interest for the Greater Israel Project. But Trump doesn't care about any of that. He cares about himself and enriching himself and making himself king of the world.
So real quick, you got one person in the chat, Jenny, saying misinformation. Jenny, just let me know which part, and I'll have Lisa address it. So just let me know which part you felt was misinformation, and I will have Lisa address it. And okay, all right. We're gonna go to Nichelle. Nichelle, sounds like Nichelle, you had an update, fam. Please feel free to let us know what that update is. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Quick mod announcement. Click on the orange heart, repost, share the live, help the help Smitty reach his live goals. Also, friend up at the very top, Abu Siraj is from Gaza and has got some great insight. So excited to hear from him about his thoughts about what's going on in Iran. So the updates, as we were discussing this, both Reuters, AP News, and NPR are reporting that Iran warns U.S. against a ground invasion. But what was interesting to me is that Pakistan is holding diplomatic talks. So a high-ranking Iranian official has accused the U.S. of planning a ground invasion as part of the next stage of the Iran war and said that an intervention will be met with force. Also on Sunday, today, Iran has threatened to target American and Israeli universities in the Middle East as part of its war effort. But what stood out to me, it says, meanwhile, ministers from Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt are meeting in Islamabad today in an attempt to come up with a plan to escalate the war. So I thought that was interesting. So several outlets are reporting that Pakistan is holding, trying to de-escalate this. And I think that's interesting. I also think it's interesting that Iran has come out and saying that they are threatening U.S. universities in the region. Social media videos from across Iran shows strikes hitting all over the country. And Oh, the last thing is that the U.S. military is not confirming where and how they may be deployed. Thousands more soldiers from the U.S. military's 82nd Airborne Division are expected to be deployed. Um, and it says that earlier Iran has rejected a 15-point plan the U.S. had proposed to end the war and put forward its own proposal that would give Iran official control over the Strait of Hormuz and have the U.S. pay for war damages. That was kind of the counter. So interesting things going on. I'm going to be following. I think it's interesting that Pakistan is getting involved, and we know their history and their alliance. That they're trying to put together a plan to de-escalate the war, and Saudi Arabia and Turkey
So,
are part of that. I think that's interesting.
real quick, Justine, thank you so much, fam. I appreciate you. Real quick, Nishoke, and then I want to go to Covey. What did you say? A part of that you said about the troops was confusing. I didn't understand that part when you said the troops didn't want to. Can you repeat that part?
Which part, my friend? What did I say?
You said about something about the troops not wanting to be deployed. I didn't understand that part.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. So again, this is from NPR. So it's under the Iran's threat to America. It's going on about social media posts. I think what this writer is saying that the U.S. military is not going to say where and how they may be deployed. Remember, we're talking about the troops being deployed. There's not really a plan. They're not confirming where or how they may be deployed. It's only reporting that thousands more soldiers from the U.S. military's 82nd Airborne Division are also expected to be deployed. So, in addition to what we've already seen, there's no plan. Pete Hegseth has no plan. Where are they going? What are they doing? How long will they be there? That's what it's confirming, that there is no plan. They're being called up. And so usually for people who don't know, like military, that means families have to make plans, get ready to be deployed, but they're not sure really where the mission, or at least maybe they know and they're not telling us. They're not telling us what's going on.
Got it. Cream and Cream, good to see you, fam. Thank you for coming. So we'll do Covey, and then we'll go to Abu Siraj, and then we'll go to Dr. Surtip. Sorry if I pronounced any of those names incorrect. But go ahead, fam. Your thoughts. I think you probably jumped in on Pakistan, that piece of it, but go ahead.
Yes, I think it's very interesting that Pakistan is involved in this because Pakistan currently is in a war with Afghanistan, right? And I think it was today or yesterday, Pakistan seized 32 square kilometers of Afghani territory and permanently added it into their territory. So there is an area called the Gudwana region. And Pakistan just completely took that over as 32 square kilometers of it and claimed it as their own region. And they're claiming that this is going to be a buffer zone because they're fighting against like a group called the Pakistani Taliban. It's called the TTP. And that group is a Pakistani based group. But they also have camps supposedly in Afghanistan. So Pakistan claimed that they have been attacking it from Afghanistan and decided to just claim 32 square kilometers of Afghani territory, right? So it's very interesting and they did that today or yesterday, I think, in the Gudwana area. So it's interesting to me that the country that just annexed pieces of land is now claiming that it's going to negotiate peace. It's very sus to me. And also what Israel is currently doing in Lebanon too, Smitty, I have people that I care about who are in Beirut currently, who are on the ground in Lebanon. And it is a complete disaster. The amount of airstrikes that are being hit, about 1 million people have been displaced. And they've just told people below the Zahrani River. So initially it was the Litani River, and then now they've told people everybody below the Zahrani River needs to be evacuated. And I genuinely think they're going to annex southern Lebanon, and that's why they're doing that.
Wow. Okay, thank you, Covey. Let's go to Abu Siraj, and then we'll go to Dr. Surtip. Abu Siraj, go ahead, fam. Your thoughts on what's going on? Oh, real quick. They can't hear you. I think it might be because your mute is on. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let's see if you can unmute.
I can hear him fine, but a lot of people in the chat are saying they can't.
Yeah, it sometimes happens where the panel can hear him, but the chat can't. That happens every once in a while. Let's try again. Can you try to unmute?
Okay, what about now?
There we go.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I can still
People
hear
in
you.
the chat, can you hear me?
All right, let's see. Yep, there we go.
Yes, okay.
Now we got it.
Now, I'm sorry. I'll reset your
Okay,
time.
so
I'll reset your
so
time.
I just yeah. So what I wanted to say is that as a Palestinian living in the Gaza Strip, when I joined TikTok, our main focus in the pro-Pali community and in our panels to raise awareness among the American people by telling them that one day Israel will drag you to a war. That one day Israel is gonna drag you and push you to pay a very high price. And now it is happening because everything is connected. When I used to tell Americans that we have a common enemy, which is the state of Israel, and that is a fact. The state of Israel has never been your ally. It is your enemy because they only care about themselves and they don't care how many American soldiers might be unalived in this war. They don't care about the American economy. They only care about themselves as long as they can take your money, control your politicians, and run things according to their plans. And this is happening right now, and we are all witnessing it, in which the US started a war that is unjustified, unlawful, has no reason but to serve Netanyahu's interest, and now American troops are losing their lives, and American taxpayers are losing money, and soon you will start paying more money for fuel and more money for food as well. For what? Nothing but to serve the state of Israel, which is something that we need to get rid of, because they have proven themselves to be the representatives of evil in this region. They have been applying this policy to unalive, to expand their colonialization, and to unalive the people of this region, especially my people, the people of Palestine. I don't want to go in details about what's happening in Gaza, but since I am on your panel, I just want to add this regarding the Gaza Strip, that the G-side in Gaza continues. In the past 24 hours, they unalived 10 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Most of them are civilians. That's what they have been doing for a very long time. Now, what I wanted to come up and talk about is things that you might not hear about in the American media regarding the current escalation. The Iranian forces declared that they were able to successfully attack 3 places that led to casualties among American troops. And I would like to talk to you about this so that you know the truth, because your media will definitely not cover this, and your government won't talk about it, because Trump is under the impression that he is winning, but in fact, he's lying to all of you. They are not winning this war. First, the Iranian forces announced that they have targeted Prince Sultan base in Saudi Arabia. And they shared images, proves the success of the attack, in which at least 6 refueling aircrafts were destroyed, in addition to a type of aircrafts that one of them cost up to $600 million was destroyed, and America has only 17 of these. In addition to that, the reports talk about from 12 to 20 American troops wounded, some of them critically injured in this Iranian attack. Another attack took place in Dubai, in which the Iranian forces announced that they were able to identify two locations or two hideouts for American troops in Dubai. The first location contains at least 400 Americans. The second location contains 100. And they were under attack, and the Iranians said that ambulances kept taken injuries for hours from the scenes that were targeted. But of course, it is censored. No one talks about it. But when it comes to Iran, they always share these news. And from the beginning of the escalation, it was obvious that they are being honest. When they say they targeted a place, it means they did. The third, the third.
Oh, go ahead, and then I want to get Dr. in, but go ahead. Yeah, that last piece. Go ahead.
So the third one is the last one, which is an attack that occurred in Abu Bayyan Island in Kuwait. Also, they talked about a serious attack in this area, which led to the injury of multiple American troops as well in Kuwait. So Iran is hitting American troops. And why I am focusing on this? Because your government is trying to tell you that you are not losing, that there are no casualties, minor injuries, minor damage, but the fact is completely the opposite. Your troops in the region are under heavy attacks day and night, and this is why it's important to stop this war before it escalates, to save American lives, to save Iranian lives, and to find a way to live in peace. And because I want the Americans to grow and thrive, but not on the expense of other nations. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, let's go to Doc. Go ahead, Doc. How are you? What do you think?
So much. Thank you for letting me on. So I'm afraid I take a different view on this, which is that in order to live in peace, we all have to be liberated. The Palestinians, the Iranians, the many Arab people of all those nations who are under tyrants and dictators of various forms. I think it's very clear the Palestinians are suffering, but very few in this live have spoken about the suffering of the Iranians under this regime, which for 47 years, by their own admission, has done nothing other than to prepare for this exact moment while their people have lived in pain, misery, and abject poverty and complete indignity. So it is important to understand that the way the Palestinians will be liberated is not by our dictators and tyrants who say they support them while they brutalize us, but the way they will be liberated is when we are all liberated. There is no exclusivity to freedom. There is no special access to the gates of freedom. It isn't just for the privileged few. It's for all of us. And I think the gentleman below made many interesting points, but the one point that is hard to believe is that he wants all of this to stop simply because he wants peace, because peaceful coexistence cannot happen under tyranny and dictatorship and brutality. And that's what the Iranian regime is. Yes, of course, they say they support the Palestinians. Yes, they all say that. All the dictators, all the tyrants of the Middle East say that. But that's not what they do in their deeds. What they do instead is they use the plight of the Palestinians for their own glory. And in the meantime, they're brutalizing their own people. That's what they're really doing. Now, while the rest of us live in freedom, we have to remember that there are millions and millions, the silent majority, who don't have a voice in Iran and beyond. And by the way, the reason why countries like Turkey and Pakistan and so on are so interested in keeping this regime alive is because they do not want a democratic Iran, which would be a nightmare for them. A democratic Iran would become the most terrifying force for those regimes around it, including the one in Turkey, which has $10 billion worth of trade with Israel every year at the expense of the Palestinians, which people can.
Let me ask you, Doc. Let me ask you a quick question. I just want to understand, and then I want to pivot over to kind of whoever wants to respond. So it sounds like what you're saying is, hey, this regime. Thank you, John. I appreciate you. This regime has to go. The Iranians need to be liberated. But what I've heard from others, and again, I just want to get your opinion, Doc, on this, is that they say, hey, that should happen organically, internally. Do you agree with that? That it should have happened internally, or do you support the U.S. invasion to topple the regime? What do you think about that? And then I want to go down to Covey next. Go ahead.
The reason why it cannot happen organically, as you say, internally, is because that's what the people have tried for decades while they have been brutally massacred, right? Many tens of thousands of Iranians, good, decent people, have been massacred. And they're labeled as traitors or Zionists. These are poor people from small villages who want nothing other than some basic dignity and freedom and a voice. That's what they want. And they're fighting a regime with rockets that go in every direction across the entire region, a regime that supports the militants and extremists across the entire region at a huge cost to the people. So if people really care about Iran, be on the side of the millions of Iranians who are being brutalized by this regime. Don't hero worship their dictators and tyrants just because they say they support Palestine, because they don't. They use the plight of the Palestinians so that you sit there and hero worship them while the people suffer. And they're not the only ones.
Thank you, Doc. Let me go to I want to go to Covey for a response, and then Doc, I'll bring you back in if they respond to you. Okay. But I do want to say real quick, I was a little bit more liberal with the timers, and I let Abu Siraj kind of go on, and so I let Doc kind of go on a little bit longer. But I'm going to go back to the 2 minutes just to be fair to everybody. But go ahead, Covey. Do you want to respond?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is a hard dilemma. Wait, can I before I go on, Doctor, can I just ask you a simple question? You don't support Israel, right? Because I just want, not for me, but clarifying to the chat, because some people are trying to claim that you.
I'm against Israel's massacre of the Palestinians in Gaza and beyond. I'm against the illegal settlements. I'm against Benjamin Netanyahu. My brother-in-law is a Palestinian from Gaza, but I'm not one of these people who blames everything on Israel. I blame all those countries and all their tyrants and all those regimes, Turkey included, which benefits from all of this. The Iranian regime, which for some peculiar reason, every time they have a Palestinian dignitary or leader or someone visiting them, they disappear and nobody ever questions that. So all these regimes are to blame, not just the leaders of Israel.
Okay. So let's reset Covey's timer. Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna lie, Smitty. I think this is a very nuanced topic. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like, in my opinion, I'm not gonna sit here and judge any Iranian people for the grievances that they have towards their own government. I do think that Iranian people have actively suffered. But the only difference is that I don't support a foreign intervention. I don't actively support a foreign intervention because I do know that Israel and America don't want any good things for the Iranian people, and they actually might make it worse for Iranian people. But I also think that people need to actively humanize Iranians enough to understand that they have every legitimate reason to disagree with their government and be oppressed with it. And when he mentioned Turkey, you have to look at what the Turkey is doing to Kurdish people. Turkey is actively oppressing its own Kurdish population, right? You have to look at how there's I had friends who were Turkish Kurds who share just brief of their experiences of what they experience, right? So I think it is very important to understand that people can be against the intervention while at the same time not dismissing the very, very real grievances that these human beings in these regions are having, right? Because, for example, there are Syrians who don't like the fact that Iran supported Bashar al-Assad. Iran was actively supporting Bashar al-Assad, and there are Syrians who disagree with that, right? But taking all of that into factor, it still does not mean that a foreign intervention is legitimate, because I would never ever support foreign intervention when it comes to what America and Israel are currently doing, which is they're massacring Iranian people as well. And that's precisely why Iranian people, I don't know. It's a very hard dilemma, not gonna lie.
Can I?
Let me go to Rima as a Palestinian. I want to let Rima come in, and then Doc, I'll come back up to you. Give me a second. But let me, and then I want to hear Abu Siraj too. But go ahead.
I think Abu Siraj actually wanted to speak, and because of his internet, I'm more than happy to let him go before me. That's fine. He's more than welcome to go before me, and I'll go.
Let's do Abu Siraj come in, and then we'll let Doc come in. But again, we got to stick to our time limitations for each speaker. Go ahead. We'll give you 2 minutes. Abu, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Smitty. I just want to say this. Now, first of all, as a Palestinian who suffered from oppression my whole life under the Israeli occupation, I will definitely stand by the right of any people against oppression, injustice, and any kind of tyranny indeed. But to make it sound as if America and Israel are fighting for the Iranian people, that's a huge problem, and that's a huge mistake. Because when you look at the Israeli-American attacks on Iran, the first day they targeted an elementary school and unalived 185 kids. They targeted 600 schools since the beginning of the war. They targeted infrastructure, hospitals, factories like steel factories the other day. They have been destroying the Iranian country because that's what they do. They said they wanted to help the Iraqi people. Look at Iraq. They control their oil, and Iraq has lost its place in the region since the American invasion. So whenever the US and Israel are involved in a place, they bring it to ruin, destruction, they divide its people, and Iranians will never be able to rebuild themselves as long as America and Israel involved in the matter. So yeah, if the Iranians want a better government, I support that completely, but don't act as if America and Israel are fighting a war for the Iranian people. No, they are doing it because they want to destroy the Iranians, and I mean all of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
To clarify, I wasn't arguing. I wasn't arguing for that. I just wanted to clarify. I don't think America or Israel were fighting for Iranian people. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, thank you, Kobe. Let's go ahead, Doc. 2 minutes, and then I want to go to Rima.
So much. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I just want to clarify that what he's saying about what is happening to his people is absolutely true and unjustifiable under Israel's tyranny and brutality. The problem here is the fact that there are many regimes in the Middle East, all of which are committing brutality. So he has his enemies, in other words, Israel, as he puts it, and America by extension, and so on. And we have our enemies. The difference is our enemies act like they support his people while they brutalize us for decades on end. He spoke about Iraq. The reason why Iraq is a mess and a hellhole is because Saddam got rid of anyone with 2 brain cells and a heart. Millions of Iraqis, right? The reason why today Iraq is failing is because the Iranian regime, instead of feeding its own people, is funding all the militants in that country to brutalize us. The reason why Syria became a mess and a joke is because the Iranian regime funded Bashar al-Assad while he brutalized my people. Kurds were not even afforded citizenship rights in Syria under Bashar al-Assad and his father before. Under Saddam, hundreds of thousands of us were brutalized while he said he supported the Palestinians. He starved us. He starved us. And in Turkey today, billions of dollars go to Israel. They literally fill the tanks and the jets of Israel with oil and gas to go over Gaza. And yet we are expected to believe that the only problem in the Middle East is Israel and America and Israel and America. By the way, those schools that you mentioned, those institutions in Iran, they all belong to the regime. They are in enclosed encampments, gated communities where the regime henchmen and their families live. So if they want their children to be safe, They shouldn't put it next to a military base and intelligence offices. Are you telling me that America deliberately targets?
Yeah, you're on time. Andy, thank you so much, Andy. Appreciate you, fam. That is amazing. Thank you as always, man. Appreciate your support. So we just being real strict with the timers, y'all. Nothing personal towards what your comments or your opinions. Let me go to Rima. Go ahead. Yeah, I was gonna come in on that last part, Doc, but I'm gonna let it go. I think Rima probably will address my concern with that last little piece of what you said.
Yeah. So the military bases was actually 13,000 miles away from that school, 13,000 kilometers to be exact, from that school. And if we're going to use that argument, then we need to go ahead and use that argument for people in the United States.
Uh-oh. We lost you, Rima.
Can you hear me now?
No, it must be that elder internet. Go ahead.
We can hear you, and I'll
Can
reset.
you hear me now?
We can hear you, Robert.
Okay. Yes, it was 13,000. Yes. So now we're using blatant Zio propaganda. Kurdish doctor, you know how much I esteemed you for the last 3 years. I thought that you were an excellent speaker. You have every right to speak about the crimes committed against your people. I think it's horrible what Saddam did to the Kurds. I do agree that we have many tyrants and dictators, not only in the MENA or Middle East region, but we also have many tyrants and dictators across the world. American intervention has never been Western intervention. European intervention has never been the solution to any of our problems. All of these countries have the right to their own sovereignty and autonomy, and for them to seek their own freedom and change of regime within their boundaries and their culture. Okay? So to say that any group of children deserve to be unalived because of their parents is abhorrent. Is absolutely abhorrent. Number two, I am a Palestinian. I am also from Gaza. I live in the United States. For us to say or to act like the Palestinians are responsible for anything that has happened in the region, whether it was Syria, whether it was Iraq, whether it was Iran, or any other crime that has been committed in the region, it is simply impossible because Palestinians have been under occupation, another European colony, for the last 100 years. Are we now going to use the argument that Palestinian children also deserve to be unalived because their mothers or their fathers are resistance fighters who are also fighting for their freedom? Palestinians are not idiots. We are not proxies to Iran. Our resistance is not a proxy to Iran, just so we can get all of that out of the way. We do not receive orders. And that is the reason why 500,000 people in Gaza have been unalived over the last 3 years. Thank you.
Do you mind if I
thank
reply
you.
to that?
Go ahead, Doc. Yeah, I'll give you 2 minute response. Go ahead.
There was a time when I respected her as well. And I lost her respect. I lost the respect for her when she started to make excuses for every other regime there other than that of Israel. The one in Turkey, for example, when I told her that they didn't build the roads so they can help us out and so that we can travel, it was so that their tanks can get to our villages to brutalize us. By the way, Turkey is the very same regime that does tens of billions of dollars worth of trade with Israel, but nobody minds that for some reason. No, the only Zionists apparently are the same people who are trying to liberate themselves in small villages in Iran and Iraq and the rest of the Middle East. We're all under occupation, for your information, because each and every one of those countries was created at the same time as Israel was created by a bunch of dictators and tyrants who drew the borders on top of us and in spite of us. And if you really want to fight for freedom and liberty, you should fight for all of us, not just your own people. Not just at everyone else's expense while you turn a blind eye to the rest of us. Turkey unalived 1.5 million Armenians. 1.5 million. Does anyone talk about the right of return of the Armenians or the Pontic Greeks or the Assyrians or the Chaldeans or the Alawis or the Druze or the Kurds or any number of other people that you don't care about and don't even know about? You turn a blind eye to the suffering of our people because our dictators and tyrants, all they need to do is to say they support Palestine, and then you give them a green light to brutalize us and do as they will with us. Just like Saddam,
My grandfather was massacred by Palestinian militants in front of my own eyes in Sulaymaniyah. I've never said that before because I don't hold it against Palestinians. But for once, while you expect all of us to be on the right side of history for you, and we are, why don't you try being on the right side of history for the rest of us in the Middle East who suffer every day? It's not just Israel. It's all of these nations. Don't call them a government. The regime of Iran has never been a government. They massacre dozens of leaders and candidates.
You're on time, Doc.
They throw out so
Yeah,
many
you're on time. You're on time,
before the
Doc.
election, and we're sick to death of this. We're going to be liberated whether you
You're on
like
time,
it or
Doc.
not. And the only way Palestine will be free is when we're all free. That's the only
May I
way.
please speak?
There is no other.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, you're on time, Doc.
Our
May I
dictators
please
yeah, let's go.
respond? May I please
Yeah.
respond? I actually.
Yeah. Hold on,
Sorry.
real quick. Hold on. So, Doc, again, we're doing 2 minutes for everybody. Okay. All right. And then let me go ahead, Rima.
No. I was just going to say, I'm not sure who he's speaking about. I've always been against the Turkish regime. As a Palestinian personally, I'm not a big fan of the Ottoman Empire. I'm not a big fan of the Turkish, the country. I'm not a big fan of their politics. I'm not a big fan of them at all, to be honest with you. And to be honest, they're not a big fan of us either. There have been many accounts of Arabs, even though I don't claim to be an Arab, I claim to be a Palestinian, of Arabs from different Arab countries going into Turkey and being spit on. That doesn't include the horrors that the Ottoman Empire committed against my people long before the Brits and before the Zionist Europeans did as well. So I'm not sure who you're talking to about Kurdish doctor. I've spoken about what has happened to the Kurds. I do not support Saddam Hussein from what he did. Yes, I agreed with one statement that he made, but that doesn't mean that we are Arab. I'm being facetious for those of you who are intelligent. I'm being facetious when I say Arab. Okay, I am an Arab. I speak the Arabic language, if that's what you'd like to consider me. So I can say whatever I like up here. But I'm not sure who Kurdish doctor's speaking on or about. I speak for all oppressed people. My only argument with him is the fact that he's saying that we are somehow being used as pawns in all of this. I do not support particular parts of the IRGC. I don't like the way Iran treats women. I don't like the way a lot of places within the region treat women. But all I'm saying is that American intervention or Western intervention is not the solution to all of this. So, Kurd doctor, you need to sip some water before you come and attack people on things that they didn't even say. The last time I spoke to you was 2 years ago. So, yeah, that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's do a reset real quick. Again, we're talking about the war in Iran. We're talking about, what we're getting from, at least from what I hear from Trump, is that, this is going to be a short engagement. A lot of folks in the panel feel like it is not going to be, that it's going to be a years-long engagement. And did somebody say they have updates? Did I say that? Okay. Yeah. So we'll go to Nichelle here in a second. Hold on, fam. Give me 1 second. Let me just real quick, we've got more people in. If you support the war in Iran, put a 1. If you do not, put a 2. I do have one spot open for someone with a different opinion than the other folks on the panel. So if you do want to come up and you do support the war, go ahead and let me know. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Nichelle. Go ahead, fam, for the updates, please.
Thank you. So AP News 16 minutes ago is reporting that American University of Beirut has moved classes online after Iran threatens to, strike U.S. affiliated campuses. So they're doing that. 31 minutes ago, top U.S. oil industry official is pressing for quick action to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The head of the U.S. oil and natural industries top lobbying group says, quote, the only real solution to rising energy and consumer prices as a result of the war with Iran is to get the Strait of Hormuz open. And there was one other big update. This is under Iran warns the U.S. against a ground invasion as regional powers meet in Pakistan. Iranian forces, and this is a quote, this is not me, this is a quote, are waiting for the arrival of American troops on the ground to set them on fire and punish their regional partners forever, end quote. The country's parliament member speaker, Mohammed Bakir Qalabaf, said. I apologize if I butchered that. He added, quote, our firing continues. Our missiles are in place. Our determination and faith have increased. End quote. These comments came as regional powers were meeting in Pakistan to discuss how to end the fighting in the Middle East, as about 2,500 U.S. Marines have now arrived in the region. An Iranian-backed Houthi rebels, are entering after the month-long war. It just goes on to say that the war has threatened the global supplies of oil and U.S. gas and fertilizer shortages. So they're now closing down schools. The troops have arrived. They're the Marines. And now top oil industry lobbyists are pushing to get the Strait open. I think that's really interesting.
All right, thank you, Nichelle. Let me go to Zam real quick. Go ahead, Zam fam. And then I want to go to Swan and then Abu Siraj. Go ahead, Zam. You're on. Oh no, we're good. Yeah, you're on mute. Go ahead.
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
perfect. Yeah, I just want to make a quick announcement to the chat. Like, y'all need to chill. Like, this is Smitty's Live. We're doing educational live. So please take that ghetto-ness somewhere else. Like, real talk. That's it, Smitty.
All right. Thank you, fam. I appreciate you coming up. Okay, let me go to Swan, and then we'll go to Abu Siraj, and then we'll drop down to Carolina.
Sorry, you can let Carolina or Abu Siraj go because my dog's barking. She's loud in the background. She needs to calm down.
Ah, okay. Okay. Go to Abu Siraj 2 minutes, and then we'll go down to Carolina 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Okay, can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
Yeah,
we got you. Oh, now we
Hello,
lost you.
can you hear me?
Yep, now we have you. I think we lost him. It's probably cutting out on his side. So we'll continue to be patient. Y'all, please tap the screen. We're at 220,000 likes. Y'all been putting in work. I appreciate that. Please continue to tap the screen, share and repost out the live if you can. I appreciate it. And then if we cannot get Abu in, we'll go down to Carolina. So let's go down to Carolina. We'll keep Abu up, of course, and then we'll continue the discussion. Go ahead, Carolina. Carolina, you're on mute if you're speaking. Carolina, all right. Maybe she may be delayed as well. Swansea, you want to come back in, or are you still?
Yeah. I'll be good.
Okay.
Okay, she said she's a drop and come back. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I think. Sorry, I lost my train of thought because I really am trying to process everything.
Yeah, I know. Swan, do you have any thoughts on the updates?
I think. Well, the only thing I think that I can say is that I think that like all of this is just like extremely unfortunate.
Oh well. That was stupid. That was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. No, like there's a lot happening. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I think that this is extremely unfortunate, all of this. I'm just going to speak to, because I don't know enough about the conflicts that were discussed earlier. I reiterate how like we have not felt the worst of this yet. And I think it's really, really important that people continue to pay attention to what is happening. And then I think the only other thing that I can say right now in this moment is just people understanding that community, like how important community is. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say for now. I'll come back in with something more later, but yeah. Sorry.
No, you good, fam.
A little thrown off.
Yeah, no, you good. No, all good. All right, Lisa. Again, Lisa hasn't had a chance to speak for a while. Go ahead, fam.
Yeah. Thanks, Minnie. So yeah, I mean, just in general, I think we all know that our governments, all of our governments, right? A lot of the, I can't even think a single one, right, that really has our best interest at heart. So yeah, I don't think that's a thing. And at the end of the day, the people that get hurt are the regular people, the people like us, right? No matter if you're in the United States or in Gaza or Iran or wherever you are. I think that we also need to keep in mind that Trump is not going to liberate anyone. The American government, with or without Trump, whoever's at the head of it, doesn't care about liberating people. And Trump for certain, because he's sending goon squads into American streets to unalive us and terrorize us, right? And scoop us up. So, but I do think that Americans especially, yes, did we want this? No, we didn't want this, of course. But Americans, more than any other peoples, have had the tools and the mechanisms to keep our government in check and make sure that they weren't doing all this stuff. But white Americans especially were all too happy to keep our heads in the sand, all too happy to buy the propaganda about us being the best, about us being the good guys, about us liberating people, because we were comfortable, because it suited us, because it let us look ourselves in the mirror and think that we were good people. And so I think that we need to take accountability for that, because while the people of Iran and other countries that lived under true dictatorships, didn't have a lot of options, Americans did, especially white Americans. And for us to cry foul now, like, oh, we don't want this. Yeah, well, we had plenty of time and opportunity to do something about it, and we didn't.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. All right, let's go to Doc, and then we'll go to Jermaine, and we'll continue the discussion. Go ahead, Doc. 2 minutes.
Thank you, guys. So I had to leave because these subjects are very painful, and the most painful part about it is the way in which so many, either willfully or unwittingly, turn a blind eye to our suffering and our brutality in countries like Iran and like Turkey, the very same places, by the way, where so much of the brutality originates from. It's so painful for people to dismiss us as Zionists when we have suffered in ways that we wouldn't wish on our worst enemy. And to say that we are the problem, broken, destitute, demoralized people who just want an ounce of freedom, just like the Palestinians and everybody else, is such a hypocrisy. Because the people of Iran are no different to the people of Palestine. They shouldn't be considered as different just because they want freedom from a regime that says it supports Palestinians. In what way do these regimes support Palestinians? When did they? Turkey was the first country in that part of the world, the first Muslim country to recognize Israel, all the way back in 1950, whatever it was. It's the country that has diplomatic relations with Israel, tens of billions worth of dollars of trade. But when we came to you guys and said that country and its regime will not come to save you, you said we're Zionists and we hate the Turks and we have our own agenda and so on. And now you see for yourselves what they're doing in Syria. You see what they're doing while the rest of the world's attention was turned to Palestine. Did they help the Palestinians? Are they still not doing billions of dollars worth of trade with Israel? Are they still not allowing gas and oil to go from Azerbaijan right through Turkey into those Israeli tanks and jets? So you need to listen to us sometimes, because the problem is, let me tell you what happens, and I'll end on.
So real quick. Yeah, we're just being real strict on time, y'all. Doc, I'll come back to you. Let me go to Jermaine, and then we will continue the discussion, okay? But we are talking about the war in Iran. If you do support the war, go ahead, put a 1. If you're in the request, we have one more slot open, and we'll continue the discussion as well. Go ahead, Jermaine. 2 minutes.
Smee, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
What's going on, man? Good. Good. How are you?
I think let's not do. I don't think it's wise to speak on other people's behalf and do oppression Olympics. I think we got to be real deal careful and let's not sound like a Zionist here on the panel. But anyway, Smitty, I think for this,
What a cowardly thing to say.
hey, don't interrupt me, bro.
What a
Don't interrupt
cowardly
me.
thing to say.
Don't get triggered, man. I know it hurts, but
Hypocrite. My brother and sister starved to death, you coward, under those regimes that you support.
Okay, hold on. So real quick, let's go ahead, Jermaine.
I'll say what you got to say, Smitty. You want to make an announcement? You want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, you don't really get triggered like that. But anyway, Smitty. Again, like what this ground invasion here, potential ground invasion, Smitty, is a disaster waiting to happen. Again, this is gonna.
I'm so sorry, Jermaine. I don't like how dismissive that is. I'm not gonna lie. I find it disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. Just the whole thing. That person seemed like they were hurt, and it's disgusting to sit here and like dismiss their pain. And if they're sitting here telling you that their family were starved, I think it's disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely think that, and this is a person who I don't even support the Western intervention of Iran. I don't even support this invasion. You guys know me. I don't support it. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit weird.
I don't think we should be able to speak on other people's behalf in spite of how pain. Again, I didn't dismiss his feelings.
No, but there are
at the
people
same
in the
time.
chat who were laughing. There are
Oh,
people in the
well, no.
chat who were laughing when he said that his family starved.
Oh,
Like,
well,
I think
this was not me. I don't know. I did not dismiss his pain or anything that he said. I said we have to be careful and not speak for other people, and let's not do oppression Olympics. I never laughed at his pain.
No, I
never
agree.
mimicked
I agree
him.
with you, Jermaine. I agree. I don't think people should be speaking on other people. I agree. You guys know me. I don't support Israel. I don't support a Western intervention. But also at the same time, people cannot sit here and pretend as if the whole situation is a Marvel cinematic universe. Like there's going to be nuances into this. That's all I'm saying. And within that region, it is what he said about Saddam Hussein and how he unalived Kurdish people. That is a fact. He did unalive Kurdish people. I don't know why people are sitting here like pretending as if that didn't happen. Like, and yes, 100%, like the Minab school bombing, that shouldn't have been justified. That's disgusting. It shouldn't have been justified. No child should be unalived. But yet at the same time, are we going to sit here and pretend as if some of the things he said were not true with regards to Saddam Hussein unaliving Kurdish people and unaliving the Marsh Arabs? Saddam Hussein literally unalived about 1 million Marsh Arabs. Like, what is happening here, y'all? Like, why are people sitting here dismissing the atrocities that were committed within that whole region that are actively being weaponized by Israel and America? When people sit here and are dismissive and are insensitive, these are the things that are being weaponized by Israel and America. Because why the hell would somebody sit here and like, I don't know. You know what? You guys.
I mean, I don't know why I
disgusting.
was interrupted because that was not me.
I don't really intervene
Yeah.
like this.
Okay, hold on, y'all, real quick.
That's wild.
Real quick,
That's wild.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on, wait. Hold on, real quick. Jermaine, we're gonna give you time, but I didn't mind Covey coming in because, again, I think she's a wealth of knowledge, and so if there was something that was bothering her, it was probably bothering people in the chat. But I always give you your time back. So go ahead. I'll give you 2 minutes back, and then Black Mimi, I'm gonna come in and get you in, and Abu as well. Go ahead, Jermaine.
Yeah. Okay. As I was saying, again, I'm not dismissive of anybody's experience, and of course, I know you wasn't directing at me or people in the chat. However, I want to say, Smitty, as a Black man growing up in the South, there's been many atrocities, right, inflicted amongst Black people for centuries. Right. And so for me, I never use that as a tool to speak for others or try to, I would say speak for other people while talking about, my issues. You get what I'm saying? Like, again, like that's I think we just got to be careful of like how we explain things. No matter, I understand, like, I'm not going to say disregard, dismiss emotions, because again, we care about things. We care about our people, especially our own kind, our own people, right? So it's already going to be more sensitive to us. And we gotta tread, but I feel like at the same time, we gotta tread it lightly. Like, we can speak to that issues without dismissing other people's issues, dismissing other things from other ethnic groups, right? That's all I'm saying. I think we gotta not sound reactionary while trying to speak for our own kind of issues that we care about. That's all what I'm saying. And let's not sound like Zionist or reactionary or sound very defensive of the system at the same time. That's all I'm saying. I'm never gonna laugh at nobody's experience, no matter if I disagree with a point or disagree with whatever they said. I'm gonna respect it. But I'm also gonna chime in and say if I feel like something is very reactionary, I'm gonna just make my point respectfully. That's all what I'm saying. So, I mean, I kind of want to speak to the topic, but I just want to make this, especially because I've never been on your panel, Smitty, or anybody else's live, dismissing of anybody else's feelings, especially when it comes to their people and their struggle, because I, for one, can relate, and my people can relate to struggle.
Okay. Thank you, Jermaine. Let me go to Black Mimi, and then we'll bring in Abu and got another doc on the panel. Go ahead, Black Mimi. Good to see you, buddy.
Sorry to overtalk. I just wanted to sort of come in and sort of nip this in the bud. The issues with the Kurdish people are very long-standing, very much something that we're aware of, particularly in Europe, because we have a huge population of Turkish and Kurds, particularly where I am in London as well. I'm not sure if this audience is aware of that. So I've been trying to say to the doctor in the chat, you need to learn your audience when you're speaking about issues. Many people will not be familiar with your people, the plight, and how that your issue is so entrenched, and it covers at least 3 or 4 different countries. From memory, I think it's Turkey. Under Erdogan, they've suffered quite a lot. Syria and Iraq, and the people have been displaced because of that. So when he's speaking from a place of his people already being displaced and suffering when they get into these other countries. So I think when we're looking at stuff in how we can view it comfortably with either you're Zio, you're not, or it's Israel, it's not. For him and his people, that hasn't been as clear cut, and unfortunately, they are suffering quite a lot. Their plight is documented heavily. I think they're a protected group for the UN at the moment, and that is why he is responding in the way that he is responding. So I just wanted everyone to know, there is a huge history of harm to his people. So when he is speaking about that. And that's why when we're having these geopolitics conversations, we need to be mindful of the nuances for those in respective countries. And that's all I was coming up to say. I don't expect people to speak on his behalf, don't get me wrong, but I need us to understand that the passion that he's exhibiting is coming from that historical violence that his people are currently suffering. So you're not going to get the kind of yes or no to certain questions that you're going to ask him, because for him and his people, it hasn't been that way. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you, Black Mimi. I appreciate you. Let's go to Abu, and then we'll go to Doc, and then we'll go to Swan. Go ahead, Abu.
Okay. Thank you, Smitty. I just want to make this point very clear to everyone. As a Palestinian, I support Iran's right to defend itself against the American and Israeli aggression. That's it. This doesn't mean that I support their actions or intervention in Syria or against the Kurds or against anyone. The only point that we as Palestinians support is that Iran's right of self-defense against the American and Israeli aggression. In that, we support them. I think it's naive that the Western intervention or the American and Israeli intervention is going to lead to any better situation in Iran. For it's not. It is not going to lead to anything better. Look at Iraq and what happened to Iraq. They divided Iraq and they lived in chaos for years. Until now, they can hardly stand on their feet. That's why we shouldn't be supporting the American-Israeli aggression on Iran, because they are aiming at destroying Iran and nothing else. If you are saying that the problem is in tyranny, but in fact, the Islamic Revolution in Iran came as a result of the American intervention in Iran. If you don't like the current Iranian government, remember why it came to existence, because of the American intervention in Iran. If America kept its nose to itself, you would have never dealt with the current government. The same goes for the Lebanese resistance, the Gazan resistance, and the resistance in the region. They came as a result, as a normal reaction for the oppression of the United States and the Zio entity in the region. And the only way for us to have a better life is by getting rid or kicking them out of this region. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go to Dr. Rowe, and then we'll get JMB, and I think we'll continue the discussion.
Thank you for having me up. I would have to agree. I appreciate you, brother. I would have to agree with Abu Siraj in his assessment, in the sense that we can never agree with or support the Israeli intervention in Iran. I think this is one conflict where neutrality has to be adopted. As a pro-Palestinian activist, I'm actually Egyptian American myself. We cannot support one evil versus another evil. I do think that we have to be consistent, and we cannot have selective empathy, in the sense that just because the Iranian regime has supported the Palestinian people. By the way, they supported them because Israel is their arch nemesis, not necessarily with the intention of supporting the Palestinian people per se. But I will say this: their occupation of Syria has. I went to college, grad school. I served. I came out, got my PhD, and Iran was still occupying Syria, causing millions of unaliving in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. And these are the very same regime that unalived Christians and Sunnis and Kurds, and then they said, oh, well, we're supporting the pro-Palestinian people. They don't support the pro-Palestinian people. They hate Israel, and they're using the Palestinian people as a proxy. So this is one evil versus another evil. And that's why I think neutrality should be adopted in that sense. Also, we've seen what's happening in the Middle East. We've seen Iran has never provided one packet of sugar, one packet of flour to the Palestinian people in Gaza. The tons and tons of food aid that goes in, and that was actually told by a friend of mine in Palestine, in Gaza, who actually works with one of these agencies. He said, despite the fact that they say that they are pro-Palestinian, not one bag of flour, not one bag of sugar went to Gaza. Even the UAE, who's committing genocide in Sudan, are sending tons and tons of aid. Even the Egyptian regime, which is now becoming pro-Zio under Sisi, unfortunately, has provided tons and tons of aid to the Gazan people. So I'm going to end up by saying this.
Oh, yeah. Give me a second, Dr. I'll try to come back to you and work you back in. Let me go to JMB real quick, and then I'm going to drop down probably to Covey. But go ahead, JMB. But Dr. Rogan, you can stay up if you like. I'll try to get you back in. Go ahead, JMB. 2 minutes.
Hey, Smitty. How are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. Thank you. So I'm on here as a Lebanese person and as an Armenian person. My whole family's from the Middle East. I have uncles that are Palestinian, and essentially like the entire region. I have my bloodline there. I think that there's a vast misunderstanding of the West on how the Middle East functions, and a lot of these proxy wars, and over time we've seen this eroding of that community and of that region. I think that most Americans just don't really understand and don't really know history. I mean, we can even just go back to the Lebanese civil war back in the 70s, where my family fled Lebanon due to invading forces. I think that there is a major misunderstanding of Americans on their overall role in the world. I think that it's just ironic that suddenly like conservatives are like all about trying to police the world when originally they were all about not policing the world. So I'm just really confused on what is the West's idea of what the Middle East should be. I think that should be the question, right? I think that if you're going to intervene and if you're going to bomb and if you're going to kill or murder a variety of different kinds of people, because if you're using the guise of terrorism or schmerism as a way to bomb another country, killing their civilians, do you think that murdering those schmererists is that reason enough? Is it okay to do that? Just so, is it okay to murder civilians in the idea that you're going to save the country from schmererists? That's my main question, and I would want someone to answer that.
Okay. So real quick, if we want to thank you guys, I appreciate all the support, by the way. If someone wants to address JMB's question, I'll let you kind of get up to the top of the queue if you want to address that. If not, I'm going to go to Rima next.
Address it, but if I know that Kobe wanted to speak as well, so.
Okay, let's do this. Let's let Sacred. Thank you so much, fam. Appreciate you. Let's let Covey come in 2 minutes, and then Swan 2 minutes, and then Rima 2 minutes. Let's do that. So Covey, Swan, Rima.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Can I first of all clarify, Jermaine? I wasn't coming at you, per se. It's just the whole live, the whole room made me personally feel uncomfortable because it was very dismissive, especially like the chat with everything, right? And so I just wanted to clarify right now, Jermaine. I am sorry that I gave the impression that I was coming at you specifically, but I was coming at just the whole situation. To me, it was just really disgusting. I'm not gonna lie, but to the topic, no, I don't think there's anything that can justify an invasion of Iran. Nothing, absolutely nothing will justify it. And I think that people need to be able to have nuances.
Right.
They need to have nuances. They can acknowledge, right? They can acknowledge that the experiences of all these different minority groups within the region, while at the same time disagreeing with the invasion of Iran, right? Iran there's feedback. I don't know who it is. Oh.
Yeah, who is that?
Yeah, but I was going to say, right, like we can sit here and we can agree that, yes, 100% Iran has a right to defend itself. It's a sovereign nation. It should not have been invaded by America and by Israel. 100% it has the right to defend itself, while at the same time understanding that there are nuances, that Iran can be an enemy to some people, right? Iran can be an oppressor to some people through its actions, right? The same way with Iraq, Saddam Hussein could have been also an oppressor, right? So this is people's lives. What I ultimately want to say is, this isn't a Marvel Cinematic Universe where people are like, oh yeah, I'm team this, I'm team that, I'm team this. You can't say you're team this, team that. This has to do with people's lives. This is not a game. This is not a PlayStation game. This isn't a movie. This has to do with people's lives. And within West Asia, millions upon millions of people have been unalived. Millions of people have been destabilized. So it's very important for people to approach this topic with more empathy, with grace and compassion, and to understand that there's a lot of pain and a lot of grievances in this area that has impacted people, right? So I think like you can sit here and say that you don't agree, which I don't agree with an invasion of Iran. I think Iran has a right to defend itself, while at the same time realizing that millions of people's lives have been impacted by this and also by the past couple of centuries. So at least for people to have some respect when they approach this topic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, and I agree with you, and I don't know that panelist. I don't think I've ever had him before. I think the only thing personally I reacted to, sis, was the comments about the school that got BOMB. that to me was like a line of like, that was a hard line for me. But besides that, that was I completely agree with you. Let me go to, I think I said Swan was next. What's Swan?
I think being a person who lives in the U.S. And someone who is a generational prisoner of war in the United States, having a lineage to chattel slavery, and seeing what this country and knowing what this country has truthfully done to its people here, more specifically non-white people here, and then the actions that the United States has taken on other places, right? Seeing people that look like me in other places not having like a home to live in, not having food, not having water or anything. I think that like the United States, and this might be a bit extreme, but I think that this country is a terrible country. We're so hypocritical. I think that there's a lot of propaganda that people tend to feed into. When I try to have these conversations about these discussions, right? I know I can have them with most of the people here on the panel. But when I talk to other people, they just have no clue. They think that we're in Iran because of Islam and it's so terrible. And then I ask them, oh, okay, so has the United States come up with a plan to reform Islam? What the hell are you talking about? You sound ridiculous. Are we going to address Christian nationalism? Are we going to talk about that? I think that we are a very, very, very hypocritical country. I think that we have caused a lot of harm. And I think that this country needs to humble itself, right? Otherwise, someone else will. Also implore people to think about this, right? As American citizens or people who are in America. And I know this is controversial and I don't care. Y'all have been talking about midterms. How you gonna use the tool, right, to fix this place when that tool is fascism? It's fascism. Do people actually think, right, that midterms are going to improve our conditions? They're not. They're not. I'll land there for now.
All right.
May I
thank you,
respond to
Swan.
that?
All right. Yeah, let's do this real quick. Does somebody want to respond to Swan's point about using the tool to fix? I think that's an interesting potential
Yes.
discussion. But Jamie, if you want to respond to that,
Can I clarify that real quick?
yeah, go
If
for
that's
it.
okay. Yeah. So
Yeah,
what
of
I'm
course,
saying
go
is,
ahead.
right,
Go ahead.
we've watched the United States government, all this like checks and balances, right? 3 branches of government, checks and balances. You have to go through this hoop before you can go through this hoop, right? We have watched Donald Trump tear that down and blow it away, and no one is holding him accountable for it. No one's holding him accountable in any way, shape, or form, right? The joke is on us. Democracy is not a thing, right? It's never been a thing. And I think for me, I cannot comprehend how people think, right, that doing the very thing that got us here in the first place is going to fix anything, right? And the reason why I say that is think about how quiet Democrats are. Now, don't get it twisted, because there are certain politicians, I think, that have been saying the right things, right? Saying the right things. But in terms of actually doing the right things, it's hard to tell. Again, we've watched Trump destroy this place. Does our government actually work? Has anyone actually been liberated? No.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Swan. Go ahead, JB. And I think Michelle, I think I saw your. I think you want to come in too. Go ahead, JB first, and then we'll do Rima, and then Michelle. JB, Rima, and Michelle. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I also somewhat disagree with what she said. I mean, she does have great points about the whole system essentially being broken, right, and serving those who are wealthy and those who are like us or regular people, not so serving us. But my issue with that is that the reason why midterms or voting in these situations is important, I'm sure we all know, is just to lessen the harm, right? So my point and my overall point is that, yes, do I expect like a massive reform after the midterms from Democrats, and impeachment trials, or getting this orange person into a specific building where they can hold him. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Like, I obviously don't think that. But what I do think we can do is we can lessen the overall harm happening, and those of you who want to vote and can vote should vote. And I implore you, because every win that the opposing party has weakens their regime, right? So just overall, like that's my point. But just to go back real quick back on the topic, just to kind of respond, is that the U.S. and the overall West has a long history of causing these problems, right? And creating these issues to further its own influence across the global South and the world. I just think it's wild that people in this chat, and there's people out there in the world, like conservatives or Christians, like they like to say it, that are so they're against other religions, let's say Abrahamic religions, but they worship the same God. It's just really funny. And I just think that it's really ironic that there's people that they claim to be loving and Christian, Christ-like, and they're absolutely not. They're okay with a war like this.
Thank you, JMB. All right. I think we can.
Can I respond to that real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll be quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'm not telling anyone that they should not vote. Let me just clarify. What I'm saying is that the tool of midterms, right? People talking about midterms is not going to liberate us. And respectfully to the person who is above me, you are not a black woman, right? This whole entire conversation, I've been hearing people talk about their experiences, but then also blaming other people who may not necessarily be the result of or the reason as to why you are experiencing something, right? I think that one thing that this is something that I've come up with myself, right? And this is when we talk about Black people globally, right? It's important for me, because I'm a master of my own experiences, right? In the Black diaspora and the continent of Africa, right? If we're including Black people globally, I'm a master of my experience, but I also understand how important it is to be a student to another person's experience. Somebody name a time as to when Black women were able to be kept safe, right? Here in the United States. Like, name a time when Black women were not subjected to harm here in the United States. What I'm saying is midterms is not going to save us. That's what I'm saying. I'm not telling anybody not to vote. I am simply saying that midterms won't save us. That's the point. As a Black woman, right? Coming from my perspective, you would not know what that is like.
Thank you, Swan. I appreciate that. Let me go, Nichelle, and then we'll go Rima. Then I want to bring Doc back in. So Nichelle, Rima, and then Doc.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm irritated. No, I'm not even gonna hold you. So, what do you want me to respond to? What am I responding to?
Oh no, it's up to you. I thought you had I thought you wanted to come in. If you don't, it's okay. If you just want to just make a general comment, it's okay.
Listen. I think I'm gonna say this. I'm glad that you're equipped to host lives like this. A lot of people aren't, so thank you for that. I think that for me, just me personally, what it took to get a voice in this country for us to be able to vote, I don't take that lightly. I look at voting as a tool in a toolbox, okay, towards liberation. It's one of the tools. May not be the best tool, may not be the most consistent tool, but it's a tool. I do know that if voting was insignificant, governors and Supreme Courts and politicians wouldn't be working overtime to suppress that vote. I know that. Millions upon millions of dollars into redistricting, right? Redlining, voter suppression. We watched it. We watched it live right here in Texas in real time. Voted elected officials who tried and did everything they could to block people voting countywide. So I think it's a tool. I think it's a tool. I think it's one of the tools. It's not the only tool. And yeah, please don't not utilize one of your tools, a very important tool. Things get voted on into this very imperfect, very broken, very corrupt, very fascist nation. I'm aware of that. I am fully aware of that. But then they use those rules that get voted on as precedents to continue to harm. Okay? Push for better candidates. How about that? How about that? How about instead of, disengaging from the system, how about push for better candidates? How about we start with that, right? How about we demand more? How about more people get engaged? 90 million people who are even eligible to do this dumb little thing, called voting, didn't even engage. We have a voter apathy problem in this nation. And that means people are not engaged. That means people are not informed. Hell, we're over here talking about international stuff right now. I've got the average American here who doesn't know basic civics, who doesn't even know the 3 branches of government, who has a 6th grade reading comprehension level. And yet I'm expected to opine with people over international things. And then there's pushback on voting, the most basic of simple things that you could do. So how about we push forth better candidates? How about we inform the greater public by lives like this, learning from other people, learning from other countries, learning about other situations, so that we can turn around and be better citizens here at home.
All right. Thank you, Nichelle. All right. Let me go. I think I promised Rima some time next. Go ahead, Rima. And then Doc.
I've got a lot of things to talk about. Number one, I find that an overwhelming majority of people are very, what's the word that I want to use? Very emotionally unintelligent and not knowledgeable about the topics being spoken about. They press the icon on the top. They see their favorite panelists who spoke about something that they liked at a certain point in time, and then they'll go into the live and just start texting away. Okay, so this is how it works. You either have empathy for everyone, or you have empathy for no one. Okay. That's just how life works. Right. And if you cannot understand nuance again about how different people from different demographics do things in a particular way because they feel it's best for their group, then please just listen in. We are here to learn from each other. If you do not live in the United States, if you do not have a sibling or a friend or a cousin or a child who may need a special education because they're on an IEP that has been cut, or Medicaid or Medicare because it has been cut, if you are watching a family member being taken from their home because of the frozen water system, please, with all due respect, please understand why certain decisions are made and why certain people are pushing towards a change within that system. Number one, going back to Palestine, Dr. Rose said Iran has never assisted Palestine in anything. That is not true, okay? Please stop using Palestinians as talking points. Stop it. Stop using Palestinians to make your plight look better. Stop using Palestinians to blame them for things that other leaders have done to you. Stop it. Palestinians are under an occupation and being unalived currently. Palestinians don't even have the right for basic human needs, aka water, shelter, sovereignty, and protection from people taking their children in the middle of the night and burning their babies with cigarettes. Okay? Stop it, Dr. Rowe. Please, I understand that you meant well. I'm sorry. I know I'm going over time. Please stop it, Dr. Rowe. Please stop using Palestinians to shine your image.
I'm talking about in this conflict, and let me respond.
Go ahead, Dr. Rowe.
So first and foremost, this is information I got from the ground, from people that I personally know in Gaza who are telling me that the Iranians are okay. Show me any proof that the Iranians are actually providing any food aid to the
They financially have helped them
Let
over
me talk.
time.
Now it's my turn to talk. Stop talking over me. Let me talk, just like I did. It's unbelievable. So you know what? This is the issue with the whole thing: the hypocrisy in this movement. There's so many hypocrites in this movement who have selective empathy. Just because a Palestinian child is just as worthy as a Syrian child, just as worthy as a Yemeni child, and just as worthy as an Iraqi child. And if you want to go and favor a regime that has unalived millions of innocent Iraqis and Yemenis and Lebanese based on sectarianism, go ahead, because now supposedly they're sending a few pew-pews across to the occupied land. I'm saying support each other, support the people. The people have to support each other. There's not one good regime. Everybody is criminal. We have dictators from the White House living in the White House, to living in Iran, to those who are living in Egypt, to those who are living in the UAE. These are all dictators. They're all criminals. So stop this selective empathy and support each other as people. I support the Palestinian people. I support the Iranian people. But I don't support dictators just because they support your country. And this is the issue that we have. The hypocrisy in this movement. You have to care for all people, not just your own freaking people.
All right, let me go to.
Can I respond to him?
Hold on. Yeah, real quick. I think Abu Siraj has to drop, so let's give him time.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, because I really have to go. I just want to say that the Palestinian people definitely care about everyone. But what can you expect from someone like me? I'm a Palestinian living in the Gaza Strip, going through G-Side. Till now, when I host lives, people can hear explosions around me. I have received the news of losing family members and friends and colleagues while I'm hosting lives. I have to run and hide sometimes because of a bombing around me in my area. I have to run and leave the live sometimes because my family needs something, or because my father gets sick and we cannot find medication in Gaza, or sometimes I have to disappear for days because we cannot find food to feed ourselves. So we do care. But the problem is, with everything happening here in Gaza, of course, I'm going to concentrate on what's happening in Gaza and what's happening to my family members. I have already lost 23 family members in a single airstrike, and many more before October 7th as well. So we are restricted and limited because we live under ongoing G-side, and we are struggling to survive till now. The situation is not getting any better. And just for stating facts, when it comes to Iran, we all know that nothing gets into Palestine without an Israeli approval. As a result, the Iranian charities cannot deal with the Israeli government. As a result, they cannot send a humanitarian aid like Egypt or Qatar. But they have been helping the Palestinian people in other ways that I cannot talk about. I'm not saying that because I am in favor of the Iranian government. No, I'm just stating a fact that Israel will not allow Iranian charities to send any kind of a humanitarian aid to Palestine because they don't deal with them. The Palestinians do care about the others. We do everything we can. Just remember that we are still going through a G-side. And as a Palestinian, I vouched that once the situation is better in Gaza, I will dedicate my panel to fully support those who are oppressed around the globe. Thank you so much, Smitty, for having me, and thank you, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Abu. We're going to drop you. Thank you for coming. All right. Let me check back in with Covey. It's been a minute for you. As we close out the live, we only got about another 20 minutes. Give me 1 second. Just want to look at the time. Yeah, about another 20 minutes, you guys. So go ahead, Covey. If you want to come back in, Jermaine, I see your hand up as well.
I think Swan had her hand up and Jermaine as well. I can go after them if it's okay.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Because they've
go ahead, Swan, if you want to.
wanting to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Swan. Yeah, go ahead, Swan, if you want to come in.
I'm gonna pass because I don't want what I'm saying to be weaponized against another group of people internationally, right? And I also don't want to be misinterpreted. And I am pretty frustrated right now. So I'm just gonna respectfully drop from the panel.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I mean, was it something that you felt like you were misunderstood?
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, it's not anything to do with you, Smitty. It's just the conversation overall. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna drop.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let me go to Jermaine. Go ahead, Jermaine.
Yeah, I do wanna tread carefully on the thing on what I say. But I do believe I can confidently say that, at least everybody on this panel who I've interacted with cares about all struggles all across the world. Not just one. I mean, obviously, there's more struggles that may hold dear to our heart than maybe others, but that doesn't dismiss our love for people and humanity all over around the world. Just so for me, I know that I can especially say that the Black liberation struggle means so much to me more than anything in the world. But at the same time, I'm gonna go just as hard for all other struggles too. But I do, I do think like when it comes to like talking about these things, Smitty, I think emotions are gonna happen. Like passion, we're passionate, right? We're passionate people. We're humans. To dismiss human emotions and element, I mean, we can't do that. But I do think we have to be just really careful on like what we say, because we don't want to. You don't want to sound like you're supporting like the West or supporting some of the things that they do. You know what I'm saying? So we can't be reactionary. That's all I'm saying. Like, we just can't. And I feel like no matter how passionate we are, we have to be emotionally sound to us as well. This is definitely a hard conversation to navigate for real. I ain't gonna lie. Just the way it's going. So I don't know. I just really wasted my 2 minutes, but I just wanted to really emphasize that, like, I'm not gonna dismiss anything else just to put above the Black liberation struggle. That's all. Just an example. But yeah, I'm gonna drop. I'm gonna try to enjoy my Sunday, Smitty. And you have a good Sunday, everybody on the panel. Also, Covey, like I didn't like. It's all love though, fam. I know you didn't like mean it. Direct attack on me. I just came in, and I was in and out of the live, so I kind of missed what was going on in the chat. So I was a little confused, but it's really all love though. You know what I'm saying? So there's no ill will. You know what I'm saying? So yes, man, I appreciate it. It's all love. Nichelle, take care of yourself. Covey, Rafa, y'all take care. Have a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jermaine. I'll let you go. So let's do this because again, it does sound like the conversation is kind of run its course. So let me bring in Nichelle if you want something final to say. Covey, if you want something final to say. Then I think the rest of the folks have kind of got in their comments, and we'll go to Jess, get her first and final comment, and then we'll continue another day. So. Go ahead, Pam. Nichelle. Oh, Covey. I can't. Again, y'all know. I think I caught her on Nichelle first, but Covey, go ahead. It's okay. Either or.
Yeah. So, one thing that I just wanted to say is I've noticed that like TikTok is a place where nuance comes to die, in my opinion, and I feel like it is unfair to people who live within the global South to not give them the necessary amount of nuance that they're deserving of, right? People can oppose a U.S. invasion of Iran without romanticizing all of Iran's decisions, right? Because we understand that Western imperialism has destroyed enough lives to know that bombs do not bring liberation. Nobody's sitting here saying that a bomb is going to bring liberation, but solidarity means refusing two lies at once, right? that foreign occupation is not freedom, and that the suffering of Iranian people also matters. People can we not sit here and agree to that? Can we not agree that foreign occupation, Western occupation, is wrong? We're against it. While at the same time as well, that the suffering of Iranian people or the suffering of every other person who has been subjected to harm, whether it is by Iran, by Saddam, by Gaddafi, by any of these people, also matters. Because the problem that I have is when people sit here and they claim that the suffering of all of these different minority communities within the region do not matter, you're pushing those people away to the West. Because the West comes in, sees wherever there is frustration, and says, hey, you know, these people don't support you, but I will support you. And it comes in and it gives them funding. That is the issue that I have. I see it all the time within these spaces where people romanticize Saddam Hussein, they romanticize Muammar Gaddafi, they romanticize all these different groups of people who have caused havoc and chaos within their own respective regions just because they simply say that they're anti the West. And I just want to say that just because a person is anti the West does not make them a good person, right? So, the victims of empire and the victims of repression, by the way, are often the same people. The victims of empire and the victims of oppression are often the same people. The people in the chat who said Gaddafi created the precursor to the RSF today. When you're sitting here talking about supporting Sudanese people, being anti the Sudanese genocide, the RSF, the precursor, was created by Muammar Gaddafi. The man that you guys support today created the precursor to the group that is genociding Sudanese people today. This is how I know some people are freaking fake. They're fake to me. People who I'm seeing on these spaces do not bother actually doing analysis. They don't bother educating themselves. They read the fucking headlines and they say W Gaddafi, W this. But then you turn around and you say W Sudan. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Gaddafi literally created Tajammu' al-Arabi, which was the precursor to the Janjaweed, which was the precursor to the RSF, the same fucking group that is genociding Sudanese people. Gaddafi was the same person who supported Ethiopia when it was genociding my people, my Eritrean people. So if people can sit here and they can have a nuanced conversation of being anti the West, you can be anti the West and you can be anti any, they're not bots, Jazzy B. Some of these people, I know them. They're not bots. This is why it's frustrating to me. Some of these people claim that they care about human rights and they care about being anti the West, which I am anti the West. But at the same time, you have to be able to be anti the West and anti any oppressor, because you know what? I just want to say, usually the victims of empire and the victims of repression are often the same people. And people think that this is some kind of game. They don't understand that human lives are at stake. And this is why I have an issue, Smitty. I have an issue with people who sit there and do their little TikTok politics and they don't understand the real ramifications of all of these decisions being made. They don't understand it. Nobody's defending America because foreign occupation never brings good. Foreign occupation destroyed Iraq. It destroyed a lot of African countries. It destroyed West Asian countries. All of these countries were destroyed by foreign occupation. So nobody's defending the West, but not defending the West does not mean you have to defend other leaders who sit there and unalive their own people.
Thank you, Covey. I appreciate that. Let me go to Nichelle. We'll go to Jessica, and then we'll go to Rima. You get the final comment. Go ahead, Nichelle. You want to say anything final?
Oh my God. Americans do better. Like, I was literally about to put this in the chat. I mean, so many people are opining about international affairs and leaders. And literally, if I put a microphone in your face, you couldn't pass the most basic of civics tests here in America. Many of us are terrible citizens. So of course we make terrible decisions when it comes to politics, when it comes to geopolitics. To Covey's point, people come in here and opine about all kinds of things. They opine about all kinds of things. And they don't have the nuance or the emotional intelligence to do so. I would encourage people to check and inspect your toolbox. If you don't have one, that means learning about basic civics before you maybe come on live and opine about things you know nothing about. Understand the history of this nation and how it is interacted with other countries before, again, you opine on things maybe that you don't know anything about. The number of people that I see, like I said, the reading literacy in this nation, that's not propaganda, that's real. That's real. Okay, but you want to come up and talk about geopolitics? Sure. Yeah, that's smart. And make sure that you use all of your tools. You use all of your tools and push your candidates, your local, your state, your federal candidates to do better. I mean, we can actually do this. Like I said, 90 million people who are eligible to at least have their voice heard chose not to. But then y'all got opinions about everything? Miss me with that. That's my final statement.
All right. Thank you, Nichelle. We'll go Jess, we'll go Swan, we'll go Rima final. Let's go to Jess. Jess, how are you? Good to see you, fam, as always.
Good to see you. Anytime I wake up early enough to make it, it's a good day, okay?
100%. Good to have you. Good to have you. What are your thoughts, fam?
I'm going to give you guys my first and final thoughts. So when I first came in, I was listening at the beginning and then I kind of rolled over and dozed off. But I came back at the end. I think it was at the end of Abu and the beginning of like what Jermaine was saying and, being sound and stuff. So what I got to say is a little off topic, on topic, since I wasn't here for the whole thing. I just want to encourage everybody to find a safe space or a safe person that you can express your feelings to and have the feelings that you feel and say what you need to say. Because we have to tiptoe around everything that we're not even being real with ourselves about how we feel about certain things. Sometimes you are angry. Sometimes you are sad. Sometimes you are pissed or whatever. Find somewhere where you can have the feelings, because feelings do change and that's okay, without it being weaponized against you and saying that you're this terrible person and you're going to get doxxed, you're going to this, that, and the other, because we are all human beings and we feel. And if we're not honest to ourselves about how we feel, we can't rectify and make critical change to how we want to move forward or what we want to do if we can't even be honest with ourselves and others sometimes about how we feel. And give people grace on their feelings. Again, feelings change. That's why it's great to go with logic and facts. Because feelings do change, but you still are human and you still have to feel. So I just encourage everybody to find a safe person, a safe space, to feel, to say what you need to say, even if that changes, and give each other grace.
I love it. Yeah, thank you, Jess. I appreciate that. Good message. I hope no one disagrees with that one. That grace is important, empathy is important for sure. So let me go Swan. We'll do Swan, Carolina, and then we'll still keep Rima with the final comment. Swan, thank you for coming back, fam. Definitely want to give you opportunity to get another comment in.
Yeah,
Swan, you're other.
Yeah, sorry, my son is
thank you for coming back.
Up and come back. Yeah, I don't like. This is something I think I really struggle with, and I can't comprehend why. If I say this isn't going to be the thing that's going to liberate people, why that is taken as me saying, F everybody else. I think it's just, it's kind of I'm not gonna lie, it's nasty. Nichelle, I saw your comment in the comment section when I said that midterms are not going to liberate us. We both know that it's not going to liberate us. I never said don't vote. I never said don't vote. And I did not want my words, right, to be misunderstood and then weaponized against people who are dealing with things internationally, right? And I just don't appreciate that. I can't even engage with that. I can't do it. I can't engage with that. I think like that was the response that I had gotten from you after I spoke. I saw your comment in the comment section. You said, Jesus, whatever you said, and you were frustrated. And I get why you're frustrated, but how are we ever going to have a conversation, right, about these things like realistically? I didn't say don't vote, but what I can 100% for certain say, standing on 10 toes, is that voting it's not going to liberate us. If anybody disagrees with me, you can tell me why you disagree, but it's not going to liberate us. And that was my point. And I think having discussions about, right, and criticizing this government, we have watched in less than a year, Donald Trump, right, obliterate what we thought we had, which was a democracy. Now, me personally, I know it's never been this way. I'm gonna say that this nation has always been fashionistas. 100% they've been fashionistas. And I think that people don't understand the sense of urgency and how important it is to understand that. That's the issue that I have. I just didn't appreciate what I said being weaponized against other like international issues in that way either, because I also know the importance of understanding what people are going through in other places, right? And if we cannot have that understanding, if we cannot engage in discussions with that nuance, then we're not going to get anywhere. I dropped because I can't argue with that. When someone says, well, we pay attention to things that are going on internationally, why can't we focus more so on what's happening here? I can't engage with that. I can't do it. It's too much of people's humanity being weaponized against other people's humanity. But that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, thank you, Swan. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Let me let Nichelle come out because I think you want to
Let me
respond to that.
First of all, I'm sorry if you took it that way. I didn't at you. I didn't say, I put it in the chat, you didn't say not to vote. You also do say that you're going to say controversial things and you don't care who gets upset either, right? So I think that it kind of goes both ways. I think that you are strong, smart, brilliant, opinionated. And then there may be reactions to things that you say, but I didn't come for you personally at all. I would never come for you personally. But you literally quantified it by saying, I don't care who gets upset about what I'm about to say. So I wasn't coming for you personally at all. I would never do that. I still support you. I'm always going to support you. I support anybody who respectfully has whatever type of opinion that they have. I have an opinion as well. I do hear a lot of people who I guess I get very testy when there's even an inkling of, hey, that voting's not going to help us. The midterm's not going to help us. It's not going to save us. Because unfortunately, there are people who don't have and can't appreciate the nuance of some of these statements, Juan, and they will take it as, and I literally was watching it in the chat. That's what I was responding to. I'm literally watching people going, yep, I've given up on voting. Don't even care. That's a disengaged citizen. And that terrifies me. That absolutely terrifies me. When I start to peel and look at the data and look at maybe we could have had different people. And listen, I know there are tons of people who have strong feelings about voting, okay, and about the Electoral College. I share a lot of those concerns. That's why I said voting is a tool. What's in a toolbox? There may be a hammer. Hammers are good for certain things. There may be a screwdriver, a flathead, a Phillips, a tape measure. There's all kinds of tools in a toolbox, right? A Phillips screwdriver is not going to be able to do a hammer's job, but collectively, the tools in the toolbox help you to do whatever it is that you're trying to do. So I get very concerned whenever I hear, especially when there's no alternative solution being presented. But no, this was not directed towards you. I didn't at you. I didn't say that you said not to vote, and I'm sorry that you took it that way. It was not my intention to offend.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think I wouldn't have been upset if you were upset. Again, it was the weaponizing, right? The fact that we discuss international issues, but you feel as though people are not paying attention to what's here. I can't engage with that. It makes me sick to my stomach. If you're upset with what I said, I can receive that. I can take that, right? But to say, well, we talk about these international issues all the time. Why can't people do A, B, and C, X, Y, Z? That is something that I cannot engage with. Knowing my privilege being in the West, I can't engage with that. I can't. When I see photos of people in Libya, when I see photos of people in Eritrea and Sudan and the Congo and other places, it makes me sick to my stomach. I cannot engage with that. And I don't even think that that should have been a response to what I said when I'm criticizing our government. Yes, you can be upset about what I said, right? When we talk about our government. But the problem is these borders that uphold white supremacy. I can't engage with somebody if their criticism includes, right, weaponizing of international issues. I can't engage with that. I can't. And that's why I left.
Juan, I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. I genuinely am concerned. What are you saying that I said? What did you say that I?
You said you said we sit here because you responded after I had discussed what I said about voting. And I understand if you would be upset with me for talking about voting, right? But you said, well, we pay attention to all these international issues. Why aren't people paying more attention to what's going on here? That's what you said. You even said it earlier when you were talking, and that can be perceived. I cannot. What I'm saying is I can't engage with that aspect. You can be upset with me for criticizing the government and all that other stuff. But when you bring in that international perspective, and I know full well what is happening to people internationally, right? And I know that me voting would participate and further their the things that they're dealing with and the things that they're living through. That's the part I cannot engage with. I cannot engage with that part. I can't do it.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much for clarifying. That's not what I was talking about. And this is why conversations are important. I totally get where you're coming from, especially with other conversations that have happened on these panels. What I was specifically talking about is that you'll have people, to Covey's point, come on and all of a sudden they're armchair, right, international experts, right? And that's what I was talking about. They'll come up and they've got all kinds of opinions about things that are going on internationally, right? But they literally couldn't pass a basic civics test here, right? So that's what I was talking about. Not talking about in the context that you were saying. I would never say that. And again, thank you for clarifying. Because when you said that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what did I say? That's what I was talking about. You have people, and we've all seen them. We've all seen people who come up, you ask them for their source. Swan, you are famous for saying, hey, we only deal with empirical, sources. We don't do anecdotal. We have people all the time that harmfully come up on these panels, get their moment to shine, saying some super harmful stuff with no sources, no backup, no nothing. Okay. They've got all kinds of opinions. But again, when it comes down to their own backyard, they couldn't even pass the basics. So that's what I was referring to when I said that, not to what you're saying at the expense of the suffering of other people in other nations. I would never say that. So thanks for clarifying that.
Okay. All right. Let me go to Carolina, Rima, and then Covey. You got an update. I actually want to bring you in last on that, and then maybe I'll say something here at the end too. But go ahead, Carolina.
Yeah, hey, I had to miss a lot. Sorry, I had to take care of something, but I came back in and I saw some of the discussion in the chat, and I think I'm glad that everybody, like the mods, like Zam and Orchid and even Covey and people were saying, let them have this conversation without the input, because this has been one of the main things that has been causing so many problems from these discussions lately, is that people will look at those of us who are mutuals on the panel, maybe have a disagreement about a particular point, But for the most part, we're very much aligned, and they take every opportunity to turn it into trying to make it a this person versus that person type of situation and antagonize it. And it's causing so much complication, so many rumors. Like, there were people who were like, oh, somebody says this about you. Wasn't even that person. It happened to be that they just were on a panel where something was said. Like, this keeps happening. And so it's really important when these conversations, as important and delicate and critical as they are, that you guys don't compile and add to the chaos and allow people to be able to be adults and have these conversations. I will personally say, because I saw, and not that Nichelle said this, but people in the chat were saying this. It sounds like she's saying don't vote. I've never in my life heard Swan say don't vote. I've never heard Swan say that a single day on this app. And the reality is that you have people who do think that voting is going to get us liberation. They think that voting is going to magically fix everything. But you also have people who realize that it's not, but they're utilizing it as a tool. And then you have people who say that engaging in voting whatsoever is harmful and antithetical to, like, you know, what we're trying to do for liberation. So there's a variety of opinions on this, and it's important not to attach absolutist statements to people and actually listen to what they're saying. I'm somebody who also agrees with Swan. I do not think that voting is ever going to liberate us. I, however, do chose to vote, especially in local elections, when it comes to affecting the material conditions and the lived experiences of very vulnerable people. So if I'm if I have a local election going on and I know one person is trying to cut off particular funding for marginalized communities, or antagonize the immigrant community and create harsher penalties, I'm going to vote for the person who is trying to combat against that. Do I think it's going to fix everything? No. But we do have to understand that while we are working towards some sort of an idea of liberation, we also have to think about the people who are the most vulnerable. Can't burn everything down overnight. Would love if we could, but the people who are the most vulnerable now are going to still be the most vulnerable in those types of situations also. So I think it's important that if your particular stance is that you think that voting is useless or whatever, that's fantastic. But listen to the people who are saying what their reasonings are, especially if there's someone like myself or Swan who are like, yeah, we know this isn't the ultimate answer, but don't put words in people's mouth. And I just wanted to say that only because this is a really contentious topic. I think there are a lot of people who want it to be definitively one way or the other. I don't deal in absolutisms. I am absolutely about nuance and understanding the situation. And also, if you are one of these people, like, I'm not saying be like me, like, oh my God, I'm an example. But what I try to do is participate in grassroots organizations and coalitions that are actually working outside of that electoral process to bring assistance to the people who are most affected, to alleviate some of these harms. So I hope that the people who are being overly critical are at least doing something like that. And that's really not me doing any shade. I'm saying I hope you are, because here on a local level, I've seen some of the loudest voices who want to critique people for voting or running for office or do this and this and this. I never see them at any of the organizing. And I'm not talking about protesting. I never see them at these events where we're trying to get backpacks for school children. We're trying to get food assistance, legal resources to immigrants, any type of like safety measures for the marginalized communities. I'm not saying that's y'all, but I'm just saying let's try to do a little bit more of what we think would be actually helping instead of constantly critiquing the other side, because there is a lot of nuance involved in this particular conversations. And I'll land there.
And
Thank you, Carolina.
To Covey's point real quick, to me, because I agree with this, you're not going to see Black women or me supporting Dragon or coming for a Black woman. That'll never be me. That'll never be me. So for anybody in the chat that was trying to instigate, and I second what she said, I've never heard her encourage people not to vote, ever. So thank you, Covey. Thank you, mods. And thank you, Carolina, for saying that. But you ain't never going to see me arguing and dragging another Black woman. Not going to happen. Never.
Thank you, Nichelle. We got a flash goal real quick. If we can get 28 other folks to send one music note, we'll hit the flash goal. Thank you so much. Real quick on that discussion. In my opinion, I'm just going to say, how I feel about it. In my opinion, that was one of the best, discussions between two panelists who I have high levels of respect for. I'm glad that the other panelists, quite frankly, and myself as a host, stayed the hell out of it. Let them have their discussion. Let them have their points of clarification. Thank you to the mods who were putting in the chat that this was a discussion that needed to be had. But let's all be respectful. And I think it got to a point where at least there was mutual clarification. My only hope is that these type of discussions, when we do have disagreements, get cleared up this way. But again, I thought it was a very important point. Thank you, Swan, so much for coming back and sharing that, because I kind of miss it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of miss what you said. And thank you, Nichelle, for clarifying your perspective as well. I think it's so important that we do that, guys. And to the chat, to me, I appreciate y'all because, again, you have a voice. Just because you're not up on the panel doesn't mean that you don't have a voice. Right, and that you don't disagree or agree with the perspective of one or the other panelists in that situation. But if we can, and this is to the chat, this is to the people on the panel, right? Let's keep our agreement or disagreement or our support to that specific point, and not necessarily, rooting on a person because it's not a boxing match, y'all. Right? These are two women who I know are very much aligned. Maybe not 100% aligned, right? They're not 100% aligned, but these are two women who I know. Both of them, under what they believe, my daughter will have an incredible life. So both of them are very much aligned. So let's not, push one person or another. I can understand pushing one side or another in terms of points, but let's just be careful with that perspective as well. So thank y'all by the way, for all the support. Let me, I think it was, Covey, you want to say something real quick? And then I want to go to, I think I promised Rima time. But do you want to come in with your updates?
Yeah, I want to come with the updates. I can go after Rima.
Okay, go ahead, Rima.
But is always pushing the elder to. I'm just joking. I'm joking. I want to have just a moment of calm. I wanted to say that I am very passionate. I am a Palestinian from Gaza. We eat a lot of hot peppers, and that runs through our blood. We're very hot-blooded people. So for anyone on the panel or in the comments, if I offended or said something that you maybe felt like was against you in any way, please, I'm begging you to please. It's nothing. We're just having conversations about human lives, my family's life, our lives. I did not vote. This is something I've been very open about. I kind of take the same position that Swan takes, that others take, who were kind of in my position. It was only because of all the positions on what is happening internationally. However, I never went around angry at those who did. And this has been a huge source of a lot of issues between many communities, especially the POC community here in the United States, all POCs, especially the Black community, and then what is a lot of American diasporans who are Palestinian, and it was kind of like a back and forth, like, this is your fault. And it's like, and so I see what Nichelle says, real quick,
ma'am. When you say this is, when you say this is your fault, what do you mean when you say this is your fault?
When I say that, a lot of the conversations that I've had in regards to voting is people thought that voting for one party over the other meant that you were somehow supporting or responsible. I'm not even going to say supporting, responsible for the unaliving of people in the global South, including Palestinians. Does that make sense? And that was always the argument where, people were saying, do I choose getting an IEP for my child with special needs? Do I choose for my father, mother, child to stay in this country without being picked up in a white van? Or do I choose, so I can see both sides of the spectrum. What I'm saying is as a Palestinian, I was never upset with those who made the decisions that they needed to make for the betterment of their community. And I'm not saying that Palestinians deserve to be unalived. I hope that makes sense. But I also need everyone to understand that's here that Palestine has always been a bipartisan issue and will always be a bipartisan issue within this European colony of the United States, okay? It doesn't matter who's put in office unless we actively change it and stand against it. We will always end up with the same result where Palestinians are being unalived. From the 40s all the way until now, please listen to me carefully. From the 40s to the beginning of the Zionist project, all the way till now in 2026, every single pew pew, every single boom boom has on it written, "Made in America." Your tax dollars are supporting this no matter what side. So I need everyone. So instead of coming at each other because one person voted for their child to have an oxygen tank or for their child to have special services given to them, or for a person voted for their family not to be deported, that doesn't necessarily mean that I as a Palestinian am taking it as you supporting the unaliving of my people. And I think that's where the problem is coming in, is people are not understanding that it's not us against each other, it's us against them. And the last thing I wanted to say is this has been a really tough time for me for the last almost 3 years. And I wanted to say that these lovely ladies on this panel, Swan, Covey, you, Smitty, and all of the beautiful sisters and brothers that I've met throughout this journey have always come and asked me, "Rima, are you okay? Are you okay?" And they cared enough for them to even care, and helped me carry on and inspire me to move forward and to say the things that I need to say. And I love you all so very much. I just want you to know that, okay? I'm just gonna drop from here. Thank you so much, Smitty, for the time today. Thank you.
Of course, man. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Love you dearly, Rima.
Let's just, for a second before Cubby, you come in. That was powerful, number one. Number two, I think we have to recognize that there are people who don't want to support specific movements and are looking for a reason or a scapegoat to not support. Right? It's like, if I don't want to support Palestinians, there's going to be one Palestinian that's going to give me that reason. Right? There's always going to be one person that says something dumb or stupid, right, that you can then use to then weaponize it against everybody. We got to be really careful, right, that there are just people like that. And so, it's just something that, to me, again, second thing I want to say is we have to understand, too, that if all I see, for instance, Carolina, is someone is in indigenous spaces, right, doing her thing in indigenous spaces, that doesn't mean that she don't care about black people, y'all, right? And same with me. If I'm just fighting for black liberation, it don't mean I don't care about anybody else, right? It just means that that's what I'm focused on. You might see me in my quote unquote real life doing something different, right? Working with those very same people. So we only see a slice. What I'm trying to say, we only see a slice of what people do. This app is only a slice. And I talked to Michelle about this. I didn't plan on talking about this to all of y'all, but I'll say it. Be careful, y'all. Be careful who you support on this app, and be careful who you support off of this app, because there are people that I think come into this content creation thing with the most righteous of intentions, but they get on this app and they get some support, and it changes them. It changes everybody. Let's just be honest. It's changed me, right? But it changes some people more. And it's not that there are bad people or awful people. It's just that it changes them to the point where some of their motivations end up being a bit different. And I would never judge one person or another, but you just got to be able to see through that as folks who are giving support to, to content creators. So just be careful, right? And I love what folks were saying earlier about grace. Let's give grace, y'all. Let's give grace. But again, when we talk about support, let's make sure we're supporting people who do have the best of intentions. Honestly, you see me on Jess's panel, right? I'll pop into Swan's live every once in a while. If Nichelle ever had a live, I would pop into hers, right? I'm in Covey's live, but I'm not in a lot of spaces intentionally, on purpose. On purpose. I only go to a few spaces. For that reason of this app will change you. This app will change, especially if you have a decent amount of followers. It really will. And so we all have to protect ourselves. And I do that, again, in many ways because of the responsibility I have to try to hold these panels in a way that I hope is fruitful for all of y'all in the chat, because I love y'all. Y'all have changed my life. Y'all have absolutely changed my life. And so I just wanted to say that real quick. I didn't plan on saying that today, but I wanted to say that. Covey fam.
I'm so sorry. I do. Covey is so amazing. I do wanted to close it. I just wanted to say really one quick thing. As content creators, you guys make sure that every now and then you revisit your why you started it, why you're doing it. Because when you're on sometimes get on this hamster wheel of TikTok and you're doing it every single day, it has changed a lot of people. And I think, because they forget their why, the why that they're doing it in the first place. And then they begin to do it for other reasons. So I think it's really important to revisit your why sometimes so that you can kind of get your mindset on the path and you can approach it the way you intended to approach it when you first got on this app for whatever that reason was. But yeah.
100%. Agree. Speaking to somebody who has always done this for the right reasons, go ahead, Covey. I definitely want to hear what you got for us.
Yeah, I wanted to say, number one, the numbers for Lebanon was just released. About 1,200 people have been unalived since the Israeli airstrike started. So 1,200 people have been unalived. And with Iran, some indicates that it's more than 3,000 people that have been unalived since the airstrikes started. And also, an hour ago, Israeli Channel 12 News reported that Israel plans to propose to the United States the establishment of military bases on its territory, aiming both to relocate existing bases from elsewhere in the Middle East and to build new facilities in Israel. So basically, Israel is trying to propose a plan to America to relocate its military bases in neighboring West Asian countries, to relocate them to Israel. So this is according to Israeli Channel 12 News, by the way. This is what Israeli Channel 12 News is saying, that Israel is going to propose this plan to the United States. And I think that was a huge update, and that's why I wanted to kind of give you that update. Finally, I think what I wanted to kind of give advice to people who are listening is I need people to please, I beg you, this is not me being condescending. This isn't me talking down to you guys or whatever. It's just me giving advice to people, right? Especially if there are people who are not from the region. I need people to slow down before they speak on any of the wars or nations or people's lives within this region, right? And that is because geopolitics is not a game of teams to pick or slogans to repeat, right? You have to understand that it is made of grief, of history, of contradiction, and the human beings and human lives that are caught in between these spaces as well, right? So I highly recommend people to approach it with more grace and compassion, to hold space for multiple truths at once. You don't give in to the easy, simple narratives. Listen before you declare anything, because at the end of the day, nuance is not weakness. It's the only way to remain honest in a world that is complex. And if you want to talk about these things, I urge people to remain honest and truth and be open to holding space for multiple truths. And lastly, what I wanted to say is, unfortunately, Smitty, we live within a world, right, which watches our death with a shrug, as if our lives were never meant to be grieved. And that's the issue that I have within these conversations too, when we're reading these numbers about thousands of people who are being unalived, and people just shrug as if it's meant to be. And that within itself is violence, Smitty. It's a violence of a system that teaches us that certain deaths are normal, but certain other deaths are a tragedy. And every single person here, if the deaths of the millions of people who were unalived in the recent years, right? You have thousands of Lebanese people being unalived. You have almost 1 million Palestinian people being unalived. You have 1 million Syrians being unalived. You have 60,000 Sudanese people being unalived in one city in 3 weeks. You have almost 1 million Ethiopians. Almost 1 million Ethiopians being unalived since 2018. This whole region, whether it is Africa, whether it is West Asia, has seen so much death. And the one thing that I wanted to say to people is, if all of that death doesn't enrage you, then you have accepted a world that has decided whose lives are human and whose aren't. And that is a problem that you have to deal with yourself, where you have erased the humanity of whole swaths of people, that they can get unalived by the millions within the past decade alone. And you can just sit here and shrug and say, well, that is unfortunate, but let me go about my day. And that is one thing I wanted to tell you, Smitty, because a lot of people have accepted that world and have accepted that system and have decided that the lives of people in the global south, that the lives of people who are my people, who are being unalived in mass, whether it is in Libya, whether it is in Egypt, whether it is in Sudan, whether it is in Ethiopia, my people are also being unalived. And yet sometimes I find myself trying to beg people to pay attention to the humanity of my people. So my question is, why have you erased the humanity of people in the global south?
That's powerful. I think, and I know you were just asking that question, but I speak on this all the time. You guys have heard me say this many times. Ever since I was a kid, I'll speak about me. I know Nichelle and I have had conversations about this. The amount of propaganda that I absorbed, unfortunately, in regards to, I would say, some areas of the global south was horrifically high. And the reality is a lot of Americans just don't care because, unfortunately, we, whatever, not me anymore for sure, have just ingested this propaganda about, oh, these people are trying to come to unalive us. You know, that's all they're obsessed with, and yada yada yada. And people have seriously, many Americans have again, they believe it is fact. They don't ask any questions. They don't think about the humanity of other people, right? I'll never forget. I spoke on this with Rima. I don't know if she's still here. One of the most powerful things I've heard. It was a Palestinian mother that said, "We don't teach our children to hate. We teach our children to endure." And when that Palestinian mother said, I was like, man, I could imagine my mom saying the same thing about us as Black people here in America. We don't teach our children to hate white people. We teach our children to endure and to survive the system that we're under. And if we just think about when people like Covey and Swan and all of the rest of the folks speak about the global south, if you could just put a lot of those things, right, into the context of being Black here in America, you'll see that it fits. And if it fits, why are we not in support? Why would we then, to Covey's point, right, not care about what's going on over there? Because it fits, right? Again, there's nothing that folks on this panel have ever come up and said, I don't know about that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It always fits. And people just need to think about that. I always talk about when I was a kid. How the hell did I have more fear about the Ayatollah Khomeini than I did the LAPD? But I did. When I was a kid, I did. I was like, it was all propaganda. Didn't make any sense. I think about it now, I'm like, oh my gosh, what the hell was I thinking? But that is the system that we've had to deal with here in this country. And that's why so many people in this country don't care. It's sad. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. Much love. Y'all take care. Y'all stay safe. I'm going to try to do a live tomorrow morning.
Real quick.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just wanted to tell everybody that I really appreciate y'all. Obviously, this is my backup. I'm not on my main. But who helped out. I was able to meet my goal, and I'm going to be making my move in 2 days. And I know she's not in here right now, but I want to give a special shout out to KGR for putting me in contact with people in the area that I was able to, figure out my housing situation and everything. So for all the crazy, negative stuff that happens, I appreciate this space and the other spaces that we're all connected to, for being able to build this community. So I just want to say that without getting too teary-eyed. I really appreciate y'all, and I'm ready to start this next chapter and this new career. So thank y'all.
Congrats, Carolina. Congrats, Chris. I'm happy to hear that. Jessica, did you want to say something?
I feel like it's gonna start another. I think that was a beautiful ending. I was gonna say something about what you said about asking questions. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. No, I appreciate you, fam. Just send me a message. I'm obviously not going to share, but definitely a message I needed to hear at the right moment. I'll put it to you that way. It was definitely well timed.
Period.
Yeah, period. Exactly. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay safe. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
We can go out as friends. And she's like, okay. But in her mind, she's like, we'll go out one more time as friends.
Yeah, we'll have a couple drinks.
And he's going to realize that he loves me. And they're going to make a movie about this one day. A Hollywood movie based on this romance.
And then she's going to be single at 45 and be like, I don't know what happened.
I don't know why I keep finding bad dudes.
I don't get it.
I attract the wrong men.
Remember, if you want to do a second date update, all you have to do is email the show and we will call the person who didn't call you back.
Move at 92.5.
Need LASIK? Trust the experienced team at the LASIK Center at Evergreen Eye Center. No glasses, no contacts, no limits. What will you do? LASIK at evergreen.com.
Moving 92.5. Brooke and Jubal's second date update.
Taylor is on the phone for a second date update today, and if Taylor can't score a date with the dude that she wants to call, I'm pretty sure that I will be scheduling a man date with him.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
You like him already that much?
Sounds like he and I have similar interests, that's all I'm saying, because they met at the salon. I don't know what sort of service he was getting, but I spend a lot of my time in salons, and been looking for a bro to do it with me.
Well,
So
I will say your cuticles are top notch.
thank you very much. So, Taylor, you've got some competition if you don't get a second date, okay?
Okay. She sounds scared.
All right, your email says that you met the dude at the salon. Was he working there?
No. He was also getting a pedicure. We both were.
Oh, now I want to meet him even more.
Now-
Even more.
Were you lucky enough to get a chair next to the said man's chair?
Yes, we were sitting right next to each other.
Oh, that's a lot of time to get to know somebody.
How did that happen? Did you guys did he show you something in his Us Weekly that he was checking out? Yeah. They always have Us Weeklies.
He was just sitting there. I found him attractive, so I initiated a conversation. I just told him, I don't see a lot of guys in here.
Oh, okay.
And he said that he pampers himself, and once a month he gets a pedicure.
Really?
Then he said, maybe that's why I don't have a girlfriend.
Oh, so he threw it out there. He wanted you to know immediately that he was single.
Yes. So then we got a little flirty with each other. He said that he liked my feet, and then I told him I like his lips.
What? Wait.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you went for by the way, that's the one place where I think it's okay when you're starting to flirt with someone to just be like, I like your feet. If you're getting a pedicure. In any other situation, it's creepy, for sure.
Yeah.
But you went straight to his lips. That's definitely going to tell him, like, hey, I'm down to kiss you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was.
Okay, I like
All
your
right.
style. So who asked who out?
He did. He invited me to his house for dinner.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
That same night or?
That same night, but little did I know, I was the main course.
Whoa.
Whoa.
It got hot.
Now I'm like
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I don't know. Like that went fast.
See,
We moved
suddenly
too fast.
every dude that's out there like, oh, real men don't get pedicures. Now they're all on the phone frantically trying to book an appointment.
I never understood that anyway. It's just your feet. Like, why wouldn't you want to have nice feet? Man or
Seriously.
women?
It seems weird to me.
And ladies love nice feet.
Yeah.
And dudes' feet are usually terrible. So even if your feet look
True.
halfway okay, they're like, wow, he takes care of himself. So anyway, back to the point. It sounds like you had a really nice date with him.
Yeah.
I definitely did. And the next morning, I said, do you want to go get some brunch? And he said he had a dentist appointment, which I'm not sure I believed.
Okay.
Why didn't
wouldn't
you believe him?
Just the tone of voice, I guess. And yeah.
Alright. Yeah, no, I don't want brunch. I have a dentist appointment.
Yeah, not that exaggerated, but yeah.
Okay.
He like looked at a toothbrush, and that's the first thing that came to his
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
So how did you leave things then?
Well, we did both agree that we wanted another date, and I've been really busy recently, and I know he probably has too, but I've been trying to make time to see him, and he's not really calling me back. We have exchanged a couple texts. I just don't really feel like he's trying to, go on a second date. He's not putting in the effort that I am.
Weird.
Was there anything that made you feel like this was more than just one wild, crazy night?
I mean, when we were talking and having conversations, it turned out that we had a lot in common. So, I mean, I definitely would like to pursue this and get a little deeper than, a one-night stand.
Right.
I shouldn't say deeper.
Yeah, I know. I was trying so hard not to make a joke. Thank you for addressing it for me. That helped.
You're welcome.
He has been texting you, though.
Yeah, we've exchanged some texts back and forth.
This one's strange to me because it's not like a big drunken night that just turned into a hookup.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys ever ate dinner, but I assume you had some sort of conversation other than just getting in.
Yeah, we ate a little.
Yeah. Like take 2 bites and you're like, you know what? Screw this. And then you throw everything off the table. You're like, get over here. At least that's what happened on your date in my mind.
Okay.
But any idea why he doesn't want to see you again?
I really don't know. I mean, I don't think there was a problem in the bedroom area.
Okay.
But I hope that he doesn't think that I'm too easy because I just slept with him, on the first night.
And if he does, I'm sorry, he slept with you too. He's just as
Yeah.
easy as you are.
I know, but you know how there's different standards for women.
Yeah, but I hate that. It makes me angry.
Oh, why? Because they've just assumed that then you sleep with everyone the first time you meet them. And guys do that.
Exactly. And lots of dudes are down to sleep with it. Dude, I walk down the street. Every time I pass somebody, I'm like, yeah, probably sleep with them. So dudes are worse, but then they judge you if you do it. So hopefully that's not the case. But we'll find out what it is. We'll play a song, come back, and then call him and get your second date update, all right?
Okay, great.
Okay, hang on.
Moving 92.5. Brooke and Jubal in the mornings. Second date update.
If you're just tuning in for today's second date update, Taylor is on the phone, and Taylor met the dude she wants to call today while she was getting a pedicure. He was also getting a pedicure next to her, and everybody knows where pedicures lead. The bedroom. They ended up having a one-night stand.
No!
It sounds
Yep.
like they didn't even make it to the bedroom, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a pretty classic story, Girl goes in for a pedicure, meets dude getting a pedicure, then they go